across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
You know, you've done it again, guys. You've put Kevin O'Sullivan's name up there. Where's Chuck? I only want to hear your voice, Chuck.
James, there seems to be a technical problem. We don't have you on screen just yet, but keep talking, we can hear you.
Never mind about not having me on screen.
How's Lady W?
Chuck, will you listen to what I'm saying to you?
What are you saying?
Why did Kevin O'Sullivan's name come up and not mine?
I think we've got somebody new here, and they thought you were Kevin O'Sullivan.
Well, will you deal with them? Properly deal with them?
Yes, they've been sacked.
I'm so sorry. I mean, this whole business of sacking people, they get all upset and then they go and complain.
Hello, Nadine.
Anyway,
how
welcome. I was just going to introduce the programme. You're the producer. It's your place now to be quiet.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, we've been having all arguments, haven't we, about me being a controller. I'm not a controller, am I?
No, you're certainly not.
Do what you're told. No messing around.
Oh, God. Hello.
Hey, I'm on screen.
Yes, darling.
I've been practicing all day to do a big, just to clip my finger. Just to clip my fingers. You have a go. Clip your fingers.
I'm afraid I can't do that.
You can't? Oh, it's not working again. I'll have to work on that. It was going to be a good thing, and then suddenly it come on. Anyway, nice to see you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on the James Wells Show. I'm afraid, not particularly well today, so I won't be here very long. I'm all right, aren't I?
No.
No, I'm not really.
You're quite poorly.
I'm quite
But
poorly.
you're massively brave, and you're here.
I don't know that I'm either of those things, but I'm definitely here.
Not many people would be still going to work in your position.
No, but there are so many people after my job, I thought the best thing to do was carry on working. I mean, there's Ash. I've kept him out of the studio. He's locked in his dressing room. Not to mention what I've done to Andre, which I'm not going to mention.
Involves gaffer tape.
What I've done to Andre. Anyway, nice to have you with us. If you would like to come on air today, so many things to talk about, so much to talk about. Looks like we could have a new Labour Party if Sultana Cake could start a new political party, very left-wing. That would be great. What?
Zara Sultana.
Hazara Khana.
Zara Sultana.
Oh, Sultana.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Shut up. Sultana. I didn't say that again.
Zara Sultana.
Oh, Zara Sultana. It's not a bad name for a political party, is it?
I think it's a person, honey.
Oh, is it? All right. Problem is, having been ill for so long now, I'm not really in with what's going on. Are you? No, obviously the producer only wants to speak when he's actually spoken to. They're getting really big-headed. It used to be that we had a really well-disciplined party. Team. And now they've gone. Right, a couple of things that I must tell you about tonight's programme. We're going to take some of your calls, whatever you want to talk about. Current calls in the day, everything seems to be going one way up and not the nice way. So call us if you've got something you think should be done. The small boats are coming in their thousands. Nobody seems to know how to stop them. This country has now been taken over, and by the end of the year will be taken over by more than 70,000 people. How we're going to cope with 70,000 people, I don't know. Some of them could come and do washing up for you.
What's the light?
I don't know.
Thank you. That would be lovely.
Yeah. What's wrong with the light? It wasn't what you thought it was. It was buzzing before.
Darling, put the light on.
Some clever company decided to put a light at the end of the biro, so when you press it, it comes on, you can see what you're writing.
Mm.
Yeah, very clever. I wouldn't mind one, if you could find one.
You've got one there.
Oh, yes, I have. I must keep it somewhere safe. I keep losing them. So anyway, two things you need to know. If you're easily upset.
Addicted to
Addicted we'll get back to. If you're easily upset by me, and I have been doing this a long time.
I am.
And you are upset, I know. She's scared stiff. She said, I'll sit there because you're not very well tonight.
I'm chained to the chair.
I am not very well tonight. So she's sitting here because she thinks I may need rescuing.
Moral support.
Not how she put it to me, but okay. So there is a possibility I may say something that I shouldn't say, or something that is a little embarrassing.
There is a dump button though, isn't there?
No.
Oh dear.
Where is it?
Yes, excellent. We had a problem with the nurse earlier. I'll tell you about it another time.
What are you talking to Chuck for? Why are you talking to my wife, Chuck?
We have 2 dump buttons just for James Whale.
You have 2 dump buttons just for me. And you've never told me about them before.
Thank goodness.
But there we are. But anyway,
And
they've got to get them. So if I can sometimes wind people up, I must apologise before I do it. So that's out of the way, isn't it? But most people listen because they want to get on with life and get on with whatever's going on. I mean, so many things going on at the moment. This whole business with Sultana cake. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Zara Sultana.
Yeah, I know Sultana, whatever, but I'm just taking the mic. Show me one good country apart. No, just one. Mention one country that has worked under communism. Can you?
No.
Can anybody tell me a country that has worked under communism? And every single person is trying to get to Britain. Everybody wants to come here. So why, if we are such a terrible country, are people moaning all the time? Phone number to ring, because of course 50% of the programme may well be listening in their cars at the moment. The number's 0344 499 1000. Why do people say "oh" in this country? They don't say "oh" in America, but in this country they do. When with a number, an "o" is a 0.
I don't think it matters too much.
No, I'm just asking the question.
I don't know the answer.
So to come on the air, all you've got to do is ring 0334 499 1000.
Or something similar to that.
No, ring that number. Somebody may be asleep. Don't be silly. So we'll go to a number in a moment. But you must be good. Problem tonight is I would think tonight is going to be your best time ever at getting on this radio station, or any radio station for that matter, because what are people talking about? Wimbledon. Why?
They like tennis?
Well, I even found myself watching a bit of Wimbledon today. I mean, in my house, when I was a youngster, my mother hated sport. She didn't like any sport. But when Wimbledon week was on, everything was closed down, curtains closed, phone wasn't answered. Nothing. No food, no. No food. And she watched Wimbledon. And it seems that a lot of people are doing that. Why?
You already get arrested for that, like child neglect these
So
days.
if anybody's got any thoughts on that. I don't think I can go anywhere as far as broadcasting is concerned until somebody can tell me why 0344 or 0... I can't get the right number now.
0344 499 1000.
Yeah. 0344
We've got lots of calls, James.
499 1000.
Yeah.
I said I would come to the calls in a minute. But why have we got so many people calling in at the moment being nice to me. Now, I'm not going to live very long. I've come to the last part of my journey with cancer. A lot of people are now coming out and talking about it. More and more people are talking about having cancer and what it's doing to them, which we think is a good thing, don't we?
Yeah.
Very, very good thing, because it helps an enormous amount. Right, there was something. We've done the warning. I might occasionally
you can take
get
some
rude.
calls now.
Yeah, I know. You're trying to get the camera shot to move so that you can move out of the way. I know just what you're onto.
Okay,
Yeah.
why don't you take some calls?
Okay, who shall I talk to first? Come
We've
on
got
with a name.
Stephen in Manchester.
Come up with a name.
Stephen in Manchester.
Now, you heard that. I thought we just took Stephen.
Hello, James. Is that Lady Whale in the background there as well? By the way?
That is, that is Lady Whale. So no being rude. She is not available at the moment.
Hello,
Okay.
Stephen.
Hello, Lady Whale. Honour and a privilege, ma'am. So, yeah. Listen, James. Listen. I know if you survive today and then you survive tomorrow and the day after. Listen, it's a day that we've all got with you. So, God bless you, man.
Stephen, that is really nice. It's a day as well, you know. It's interesting. It's a day we've all got coming.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see how long I can go on talking about it.
Every day you wake up and open your eyes and you're still here, that's a good day, right?
Yeah, but things are getting a bit worse. You can tell when things are getting worse.
But you're tough, James, so, you know. And like I said, tomorrow, the day after, and you get to spend that time with that lovely lady, Lady Whale, so there you go. You know what I mean? So.
Believe me, sometimes I'm quite annoying.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
He keeps telling me.
No, not sometimes. Quite often very annoying.
I know. Listen, I just, I've lost my train of thought now why I originally wanted to talk to you, and just gobsmacked that I'm talking to Lady Whale. So it's wonderful to hear you, ma'am. And James, you're a top man. That's all I can say.
Stephen, thank you very much indeed, my friend. I've spent my entire broadcasting career, 50 odd years, of winding people up, and now towards the end, I am not. I'm
gently winding down.
Gently winding down, and absolutely amazed at the amount of people who got the show and didn't have to actually be told.
Do you know, we've had so many nice people who've, like, on Twitter contacted me and turn the light off, honey, and have sent us, like, lovely messages and things. So, and even to our local pub, a few little presents and things. So, thank you, Mikey.
I know exactly what's going on with the local pub. Beverly, you can stop it right now. Beverly, the landlady in the pub across the road, literally, rings up and says to Denny, "Oh, we've got some toast for you. We've kept it over here. Would you like to come over and pick it up?"
I must confess, I don't mind popping over there to grab the parcel or card. So I have to quickly have a little. I mean, it'd be rude not to have a glass of wine.
Yeah,
it would be rude.
So Beverly's sitting there writing out fictitious cards.
No, they're real cards.
Madam goes over, they have a couple of glasses of wine, and then she rushes back. I know exactly what they're up to. Look at the quiet. Hear the quiet. Where do you live, Stephen?
Stephen's gone ages ago.
Oh, you've taken Stephen off.
You've got Zoe in Norwich now.
No power, nothing.
Someone's in Norwich. Oh, we've got friends in North.
We have. And I hope they're listening, and I hope they're okay. Now, their names...
Zoe in Norwich.
Right, 03444991,000. Apparently, I was saying 0334449. I was giving out the wrong number, really.
It's on the screen there. It's fine, darling.
Yeah. Who's next?
Zoe in Norwich.
Who?
Zoe.
Zoe.
Yes, so hello, James.
Going deaf as well. Zoe, hi, what can we do for you?
Yes, good evening. I'm really pleased to be able to talk to you both again. Normally I sing to you. I'm not going to sing to you today. I am hoping that you are comfortable, James, and Lady W, I think you're doing an absolutely wonderful job. It's very tiring. We've had some family members pass away of different cancers as well. We know the strain that it takes, and I'm always thinking of you both.
Well, that's really nice.
Well, that's lovely. Thank you very much. I think the thing I didn't expect was that it would get so difficult towards the end.
Well, I mean, you're quite tiring when you're normal, let alone when you're poorly.
I'm quite tiring when I'm normal.
Yes.
We have seen, firsthand. It is rough. That's why I'm always thinking of you both, and it's just nice that you're still here, because you're one of the sane people that's still in this insane world. It's absolutely driving me crazy what is happening at the moment.
Driving me crazy too.
Yeah.
Listen, go on.
I think the problem is the way that our parliaments, our governments are, that they're trained in the wrong way, shall we say. They shouldn't be going to university. I think they should be trained with people firsthand, go out, work with the NHS. The person who's in charge of our security should have military background, absolutely, and our PM should have fingers in all pies and come from a real world and not the bubble of a university.
I think that will be a discussion worth having, I must confess. And I think there are too few people who know about the real world at the moment. Zoe, thank you very much indeed. Now, I don't want to inflict myself. I know I sound pretty ill and I've lost my voice. So what I'm going to do, we're going to take a break. Is that okay here, guys?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Right, welcome back. You see, I have to put up with that sort of rubbish. They begged me to stay on a little bit and take a few more calls, because when they come on, the calls go off and you start talking about trans problems and men's makeup. So we better stay here. The lovely Lady Whale is beside me. Claire is on the phone. Claire, where are you?
Hello.
Hello, Claire.
I'm from Southampton, James. We've spoken before.
Well, I think the amount of people I've spoken to over the 50-odd years I've been doing it must be most of the population. So what can I do for you?
No, our phone calls are always very different. I spoke to you and Ash twice, and it always came back to, we spoke once about eugenics, we spoke once about conversion therapy, and we were talking to my lammy chop tea.
Gosh, what are we going to talk about tonight?
We were talking, well, I'm just with my husband this evening, and I said, I've got to speak to James because we haven't had lammy chops today, we've had ribs and steak. And that's
well, that sounds really nice.
Right?
Yeah, no, unusual.
I love steak.
What did I have for lunch? Did I have anything to eat today?
You've had quite a few things to eat today.
Yeah, but not.
For supper, you
Oh, I had
you had smoked mackerel kedgeree for dinner.
kedgeree.
Oh no! Oh, I've got a story about kedgeree. You won't believe this.
Go on then.
Would you like to hear it? So when I was growing up, I don't like fish, I don't like mushrooms, but when you're a kid, you have no choice. Correct?
Yeah.
Well, Mum made kedgeree, and we had one of these. So I was an 80s kid, and we had a flower pot on the kitchen table, and it was a fake plant. So I lifted the plant up, and I stuck the rice and the fish under the plant.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Put the plant back in the top.
That's really fine for a little while.
Finish the kedgeree. Thank to high heaven.
I think we had some hard-boiled eggs. I could have done with a bit more curry spice, but then I've got this huge ulcer in my mouth for some reason. So then I've got bed sores to put up with. Everything is going.
Man, you're not eating enough lamb chops.
No, he likes. You still have a bit of meat, don't you?
You can, yeah. I don't mind a lamb chop. I'm in that position where I'm a bit crotchety. So one day I like something, and the next day I don't.
I'm getting very much into Greek food at the moment because of the summery weather. So there's a lot of oregano and lamb and things going on around here.
That's really good, but I'm just going to say, James, we're all crotchety because there's no reason not to be crotchety these days. You're not alone there, my friend.
Well,
especially if you've got bed sores on your bottom, it does make it a bit worse.
Yeah, you weren't listening to that bit of the conversation. Claire, thank you very much indeed. Nice to talk to you. Gary, hi. Gary.
Kevin.
He never did mention a Kevin, but there we are. Kevin.
Hello, James.
Yes, Kevin.
I couldn't resist ringing up tonight. Good evening to you and Lady Wales tonight. I couldn't resist ringing up, especially when I saw your shirt. I have one exactly the same, actually.
There you are.
Saw my what?
Your shirt.
Oh, right. Oh, good shirt. Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
I've always complimented your wardrobe, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. The reason I rang up is to apologise, actually, for one of our conversations. I think it must be about 2 years ago now.
You don't need to apologise to me for anything.
What happened?
Go on then. What did I do?
I think I do, because I did upset you during our conversation.
You seriously wouldn't have upset me, but go on.
It was about our London Mayor, Sadiq Khan.
Oh, you're a big fan of his, are you?
No, not particularly.
Oh.
Are you a fan of boxing, James?
Am I a fan of what?
Boxing.
No.
Well, are you? Do you know Amir Khan?
I think I've had the pleasure of meeting him once. Yeah.
Right. Well, obviously he has the same surname as our London Mayor, Sadiq.
Yeah.
And the point I was trying to make is out of the two of them, I suppose Sadiq would be the head of the two Khans. So I called him.
What?
Khans.
Yeah.
So I called him Sadiq Head Khan, as in Sadiq Head Khan, which sort of sounds like
you don't try and become a comedian, do you?
I didn't mean it in a comedic way.
I must confess, it made me chuckle.
Do you remember it?
No, but that just made me laugh.
That made you shock. Oh, good. Well, thank you for that. Right, let's go on to the next one. Khan, thank you.
That's Kevin.
Lloyd in Brighton.
Was that Kevin? Kevin Khan.
No,
Lloyd
no,
in Brighton.
Who in Brighton?
Louise.
Lloyd.
Louise.
Oh,
No? We both missed that, Kevin.
Lloyd!
Lloyd.
Lloyd.
That's Chuck, not Kevin.
James,
Lloyd.
it's Lloyd, engineer Lloyd from talkTV. We spoke.
Oh, hi, Lloyd. How are you?
That's Lloyd, your friend.
I'm doing all right. I just said to Chuck, I said, can I have a quick chat with James? And I know we don't want to go on about our cancer, but as I discussed with you, I got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and I've not got that long, or hopefully I have. But I just wanted everyone to know the importance of getting tested, because if I'd have got tested a year ago, I wouldn't be in my situation. We've had long chats, haven't we, James, about this, and it's just so important for people to be aware of just getting the camera up your bum, or doing whatever you have to do just to get tested, because otherwise we'd be in much better situations now, you and me.
What are they saying about you at the moment?
Well, I've had my first lot of chemo, which, do you know, I was really, really nervous. So I went in, had no symptoms whatsoever. I took the pump home for 48 hours. And then 3 days later, I felt absolutely terrible. But
unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
yeah.
I know you're separated, aren't you?
How do you mean?
Or divorced, or?
No. I live with my 2 girls. No, I was never married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
are they understanding the situation you're in?
Yeah, my girls have been really good. You know, they've been really supportive, and I think it's important to be honest with people about, like you do with Lady W. You do your podcast, and I think it's important for us as well, James, isn't it? For us just to be open about it.
I think, excuse me, the reason I didn't come to the studios today is I am getting worse, and
don't worry. Yeah.
But I do want to meet you, and we will try and sort something out.
Yeah.
Are you still able to drive?
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll work something out.
We'll sort something out, because there is nothing healthier, nothing better than being able to talk to somebody face to face who's gone through exactly the same thing that you're going through, isn't that right?
Yeah, I agree.
And
But I didn't want to keep you, because I know you've got to go soon, but it's just the importance to people, even if you've got no symptoms, just go and get tested. When you get to like 50, just get tested, because you never know, you might save your life.
How old are your children?
So they're 18 and 22, and they're doing all right, you know.
And are you, sorry to be like a policeman, but I need to know, are you in touch with their mum?
Well, their mum wasn't a great mum, to be honest, James. I got custody of them years ago. I mean, one of them is in touch with their mum, the other one doesn't even talk to her mum, so unfortunately it's not great. But, you know, we've got a lot of friends and there's other families supporting us, so
okay, good.
It's
good.
all right. Go on.
No, as long as there's somebody there in the family that they can turn to and they can talk to.
And the final thing I will say is sorry to interrupt you there, James, is talk as a business have been great to me. I mean, I work for the other brands that we own, but as you know, they've been really good with you, and they've been really good with me as well. And I can't thank Denny and everyone, all my boss and everyone I work with, who have been so supportive. And without, like you, if I didn't have be able to come into work sometimes, I'd probably give up. But
promise me a lifetime supply of chocolate to us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Denny was very nice the other day. He said, what would cheer you up? I said, chocolate. And the following day,
The biggest hamper of dairy milk you ever saw.
yeah, it landed on the table. It was nice. You can still
right,
have a
James.
laugh and a joke.
Yeah. Actually, Times Radio sent me a hamper, which was quite nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I thought that was quite nice. Yeah,
Well,
it was
listen, let's
good.
arrange for you.
Yeah, we will.
Where do you live? In Brighton? You don't live that far away.
No,
Let's
I'll
arrange
come
for you
up
to
and
come
see
down.
you. Yeah, I will. And say thanks to Chuck for letting me on the air. I know he doesn't let me on the air very often, but thanks, Chuck.
Thank you very much.
See you later, James. All right.
Bye,
see you
Lee.
soon.
Bye.
Lloyd.
Lloyd. Bye, Lloyd. Bye. I get names mixed up. I am, because I'm coming to the end of, today I got very emotional. I can feel it coming back as well. I want to stop.
You'll be good. Come on.
And I spent quite a lot of time crying today, and it really does. Eventually, in the end, it's not the pain and everything else, but in different ways. For me, it's the emotion of the whole thing. Just
It's
the
very
emotion.
sad. It's very sad. And you're being so tough dealing with it. You're being amazing.
Well, going back to what Lloyd said, if it wasn't for work allowing us to work every now and then, I think we go round the bend.
It does.
Because it helps, gives you a focus and a reason to do something, even if it's just a little bit like this. Listen, guys, I think I'm going to go and introduce the other ones now, so to lighten everybody's evening up. So, if that's
all right, man.
Hello.
Can you put us on the telly there? That's better. Look at that. Yeah. How you doing? That was really good, man. How's it going, man? You all right? That was good, man.
No, I'm
Picked
not
up as
good.
well.
I'm not good. I'm not good.
No.
But may I say, Andre looks very sophisticated. Please, you've got to take some kind of notice.
I have to say, I'm very, very sad because I didn't know any of that about Lloyd. But it's great that you've been supporting him, at least in a minor way, throughout this difficult period for him.
Well, 1 in 2 of us get this disease, and it's a very difficult thing to handle on your own, and you do need to be able to handle it with somebody else. Are you wearing gloves?
Am I wearing gloves?
No, okay. See,
well, I mean, it looks a little bit like it because I'm kind of.
If we forget to put makeup on the hands, it's a big giveaway.
They don't like me showing my hands because my face is so pale normally.
Jazz hands.
A friend of mine got in touch with me today, and he's doing a little bit on how can I put this? He's doing a bit to promote his company. So he said, what can he do? I said, you need some makeup. And after he got over the initial annoyance, realised how much better you look after you've been filmed by a camera.
Yeah.
It has to be said, James. See, you have always been in studios and whatever. I remember when I worked for the other place, I think I can say it, GB News, I used to have to get the train from Slough to Paddington. And if I was running late, I used to have to do the makeup on the train, which I will tell you is not the greatest thing you can do in the world in terms of reputation.
Wasn't that a film, Makeup on the Train?
Brief Encounter.
You have to be very careful, but today you can just say, what's your problem? I'm a tran.
Well, what I always used to do was I always used to put the makeup on and then pick up the phone going, yes, I'm running late for the studio, so everybody could hear. So they knew that I was very definitely.
Very clever.
I remember in the early days of TV, men being on television and doing makeup, and it was always a newsreader that you recognised or somebody, and they'd be sitting there in a carriage doing their makeup.
In a carriage? This was in horse and carriage days, was it?
I went to film at a boxing gym in Liverpool, and the bloke said to me, "Hey, don't let her put makeup on me in front of people. I'll never live it down with the lads." So we had to take
but Liverpool, they're always made up.
Made up.
I'm made up, mate. Always made up.
Now, that was a good joke.
Thanks,
listen,
man,
I've got to go, guys.
Well, thank you so
evening.
much.
Next week, same time, same place, Bubba.
Hopefully, yeah.
All right, man.
Absolutely right. Well, that is James and Nadine. James Whale, MBE, by the way, member of the most honourable order of the British Empire. And I have to say, I mean, what a remarkable sense of British spirit to keep going in such adversity. And this is a bit that we all forget. You listen to somebody like Lloyd, and that is why having somebody in the public eye who continues to soldier on. I've always said, and it's an awful thing to say, but having James publicly go through this is helping thousands.
Well, it's the old people in the same boat. You think you're on your own, but then you realise with that and people phoning in and say you're not. There's lots of people in the same boat. As
and
James
I'll tell you
says,
something
1 in
else.
2.
If you have had a cancer diagnosis this week or this month or this year, let me tell you something. You know, the rate of improvement in treatment. James Whale has, first got diagnosed with cancer 20 years ago and is still going strong. Now, you can say, oh, he's looked better and whatever. He still can anchor a bloody TV and radio show, 20 years after his diagnosis. Anyway, we'll be back straight after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
OK, well, I have to say to you, I love this article that's in the Telegraph today, which says that it's not racist to believe in the British identity. From our old friend and contributor...
English, isn't it? English identity.
English identity, sorry, misspoke. But it's from our old friend and contributor, David Shipley. Now, look, David, why don't you tell us a little bit about why it's great to be proud to be English?
Well, as I said in my piece, we are one of the oldest peoples in the world. If you go back to when the Venerable Bede wrote the Ecclesiastical History of the English about 1,300 years ago, he already was treating the English as a people who obviously existed. He didn't feel the need to define that term. We arose in these islands in the 4th, 5th and 6th centuries, and we've been here ever since. And it just seemed really astonishing to me. So what triggered this was Michael Gove did an interview with Professor Matt Goodwin, and they talked about Englishness. And you had all these, kind of left of centre commentators coming out and saying all sorts of astonishing things. The worst was John McTernan, who used to be Tony Blair's advisor. And he said that the very idea of English ethnicity was evil.
It's ridiculous. I mean, you look at we've been with English people, like you said, for over 1,000 years, and thousands of years before that. When you look at, Stonehenge and all that, and then it's because we don't look like. I mean, you look at the Maoris; they've only been in New Zealand 800 years, but which is less than even the Normans, and it's like, oh, they're indigenous. So actually, those people are a bit racist because they dress in a sort of, they say, oh, they're indigenous people and we can't be indigenous because we're white. It's racism, basically, isn't it?
There's definitely something like that. Yeah, there's this weirdness that people seem perfectly able to accept that other ethnic groups exist, but they just don't want to accept
I have a theory, David, which is something I purely just sat one day on the bus and thought to myself, I'm sure this is the problem. But nobody's ever told me I'm wrong. You're welcome to chip in. If you think about it, when you look at the English, when they say the Battle of Waterloo was won on the playing fields of Eton, our national pride is not based on the mass population. It's based on the elite. And that elite after the Norman conquest was French. If you look at pig is when it's in a field, pork is when it's on the plate, being the French word. Cow is when it's in a field, beef is when it's, and sheep and mutton and all that sort of thing. I think that it is traditional in this country to believe that the French are better than the English. And I think that the elite, still to this day, and we saw it during Brexit, still believe that the French and continental Europe are a little bit more sophisticated. We are kiss me quick hats and Union Jack underpants, and the French are sophisticated. And I have to say, go into a posh restaurant written in French, and the ultimate example of the lower middle class snob, Mrs. Bucket called herself Bouquet. Literally because...
Yeah, but the modern world, the Industrial Revolution, the computers, 90% of all sports, clothes that you wear, suits, come from this country. The language is English. This country has punched well above its weight and has been the most influential in any empire.
I maintain that we are the only country on earth where our elite actively dislike the general population. They see them as brutish, stupid morons who need to be saved by continental Europe.
I think a lot of that's true. Yeah, Orwell talked about this a century ago, right? The fact that how much the English elite loathe Englishness and are sort of ashamed of their nationality. But also, I think you see it in the kind of always looking, like you said, elsewhere, treating other places as somehow more sophisticated, more important, and England as somehow rough or something to be embarrassed of. And I just think it's a shame. I think we need to leave those negative.
Here's another question for you, David. Recently I've been trying to play with language, right? So why is it that when we go over to Africa, we are settlers, and when an African comes over to England, they are migrants? Why is it that when we say, oh my God, what a disgrace that the heritage and history of a black majority country was pulled down by a white majority, and then when conversely a black minority in Britain starts to pull down the heritage and history of a white majority, to suggest that is somehow racist? I think there's an
inverse racism.
There's an enormous amount of straight up hypocrisy. If you said that what we're going to do now is go to Zimbabwe, well, I'll tell you what, let's forget Africa. If we were to say we are going to Pakistan, we are going to take over Lahore, we are going to have effectively a tribal area where only Christianity is practiced, only English is spoken, and only white people effectively are allowed to live there or walk down the street, they'd be up in arms. And yet that is what has happened in Burnley, Blackburn, Keighley and places like that, but the other way round.
Yeah, I think part of this perhaps is if you haven't had to think about yourselves as a people for a long time, and you haven't been taught to think of yourselves as a people, it's quite hard to defend your identity.
Because we don't have an identity crisis. I know comedians, they go up down the country, and cities that have like a big identity, like, some big cities, they're not worried about themselves, whereas small places often go on, I'm from this place, I'm from that place. And it's a bit like we were mainstream being English. There was so much influence around the world that we're seen as populist, as commercial. We're not the cool sort of individual sort of art.
We're Michael McIntyre or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But actually that's, it's the best way to be. That's because we've had so much influence.
Yeah, I think we often don't realise that how much English culture there is, because for the same reason fish don't realise there's water, because like you said, the suits everyone wears around the world, the language people use, the common law, these things are English inventions.
Somebody once said, and forgive me, I forget exactly who it was, that for many years he didn't realise that vanilla was a flavour. And what the guy was making the point about multiculturalism. He was saying that what we always think of is, we think of, you know, vanilla being neutral, and then you put perhaps your raspberry ripple in the vanilla, or you put chocolate with it or whatever. But we forget that vanilla in of itself is a hugely sophisticated and rich flavouring. But because it's so ubiquitous, we forget it actually exists as a separate thing. And if you were to actually eat plain ice cream rather than vanilla ice cream, you would find very quickly how drab and bland it is. And I just feel like we don't value British culture in the same way as
English culture, because the Scottish and Welsh, they have their strong identities, and this goes back to the point I was making. You know, England are very satisfied in, you know, they've not got any sort of thing a chip on their shoulder. There's a lot of people are jealous, basically, of English culture. That is the essence of it.
I think some of this part of that, or they have a very stereotypical understanding of it. I sort of saw quite a lot of people online responding to the articles, sort of not English people, saying, oh, yeah, Englishness is liking cricket and parliamentary democracy and tea. And you know what? Those have been popular things in England for the last couple of hundred years. But as I said at the start, we've been English for 1,500 years. So actually, you know, we take parliamentary democracy, we've been ruled by kings for most of our existence. Parliamentary democracy is relatively recent.
We
invented authoritarianism as well.
I genuinely think it's not so much parliamentary democracy, it's the idea of being ruled, being governed rather than ruled. This idea that you are an individual, you have rights yourself, not these garbage human rights that Keir Starmer's obsessed with, but I'm born with inalienable rights and the government should be light touch. I see a country now where many of the values that have made Britain great are not valued. The big problem that we've got, I think, and by the way, I keep saying Britain rather than English, and I appreciate that says something about the way the English are in of itself, but I do mean to say English. But here's the thing that I think is remarkable. What we are being told is that there is nothing unique about England. There is nothing that England has contributed. You know, parliamentary democracy, the idea of the settlement between Crown and the people, the idea of sovereignty, the idea of identity, you know, the idea of being individuals and low tax and low regulation, none of that achieved anything. It is transatlantic slavery that made the United Kingdom rich. And actually, had it not been for transatlantic slavery, Africa would have been far more rich and successful than the United Kingdom. Certainly, they were far further culturally and certainly in terms of enlightenment. And if you are a country around the world that you want to copy a way of making yourself rich and making yourself successful, don't bother copying the United Kingdom, because all they did was slavery. And that, by the way, to anybody listening, is the biggest pile of shite you will ever hear in your life.
Well, every country did slavery. We were the only country that said, no, this is wrong to do this, and actually attacked other countries and made ourselves poorer.
But the point I'm making is, forget whether we did slavery or not, the suggestion that the reason that the United Kingdom became wealthy is slavery completely enables you to ignore how rule of law, contract enforcement, independent courts, parliamentary democracy, and all of these things actually made a difference. Okay, we're going to come back to David Shipley. Loads of stuff to respond to, David. We've set out our stall. He's going to respond to it straight after this.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yeah, so we threw out loads and loads of things about what people think about the English, and the answer is not very much. David Shipley wrote an article for The Telegraph. Now, sorry, we should say he's a Telegraph commentator, or at least columnist, or something like that. But David, we've put out loads of things about the fact that we believe that the elite in England think the English are stupid, and also that they've dismissed a lot of our history, and also we are having our history trashed and our culture trashed. Your response?
Well, this is something I'm writing about in the minute. So this is an idea that's sort of being developed, but I'll share it with you guys and your viewers as a preview, I suppose. So I think if you look at the British Empire in its latter stages, when it was struggling to hold the colonies, it pursued a bunch of quite repressive policies. It used a lot of pre-trial detention, what we'd now call remand, of people who were protesting or criticising it. And there's lots of scholarly work about this happening in British India and this sort of thing.
And Ireland, Northern Ireland as well.
It would also pursue a policy of dividing and ruling local ethnic groups in the areas it ruled over. And if there wasn't enough sort of variety, it would often move in populations, most famously moving the Tamils to Sri Lanka, and to disrupt a homogenous population and create intracommunal violence, which made it easier.
It's like what they're doing now in this country.
Well, this is. I think you can make a case that the British Empire, in its final stage, which it is in now, is now imperialising and lording it over the English, the native peoples of these isles, in a way which is, and it's using many of its repressive tools which it did develop in the late stages. And I think that is what we see here. This sort of the horror that we might identify as an ethnos, a people with a people and a nation, the horror that we might actually start to think of ourselves as a people again. And the way we've been taught to say, as you say, we've been taught to say Britain or British or UK instead of English, but actually, we exist. The English are a people, and we absolutely have a right.
Exist. But David, we exist for how long? I mean, look, I went back to my old university town, Egham in Surrey. And to be fair, it was late at night. To be fair, it was not representative. But look, there was no white people and nobody spoke English. Now, OK, it was a particular example. But look, Egham in Surrey was not the capital of multiculturalism in my day. You have now these tribal areas, as I call them, where Urdu is the first language, and people have really very little engagement with Britain. And I wonder, to be incredibly controversial, whether part of the solution now is to have reserves like they have in the United States of America that remain English, whilst the rest of the country gets submerged with a multicultural soup that just makes it like anywhere else on earth.
I would like to think we can be a bit more ambitious.
Oh, that's the most right-wing thing I've ever said.
No, but I mean, the point is, like you said, your point you just made, homogenous societies are dangerous. Professor David Betts saying civil war is coming. By bringing in all people with different cultures, you'll end up with different groups fighting each other rather than one homogenous group fighting the government like 100 times the poll tax drive. So is this a divide and rule policy to sort of control the inevitable civil war, as Elon Musk and Professor David Betts at King's College, or was it Imperial King's College, I think, said?
So I do think you can read some of these policies and relate them to exactly the same thing the British Empire was doing a century ago in India, for example. And, that obviously is in the institutional memory of the British regime. And I think, it of course benefits those who have power if populations are fighting each other and disagreeing with each other rather than, choosing how they're governed. But also, there's lots of data that homogenous societies are much more stable, happier, more charitable, lower crime.
For obvious reasons, isn't it? It's not...
But higher trust societies. So, and I think across Europe, you're seeing people starting to recognise that the experiment of mass migration and multiculturalism has not been a success.
But can you put the toothpaste back in the tube, or you can't, can you?
I think you can.
How do you do it?
I think there probably are paths forward where I don't think civil war is inevitable. I think there are paths forward where we get to a better functioning British state, or
David, can I say to you, I've given this example lots of times, but my mate who is Eastern European said in Eastern Europe, when they want to ethnically cleanse a population, here's what they do. Right, now, by the way, he is convinced ethnic cleansing is happening in Britain. He originally thought Rishi Sunak was responsible, and then realised that he said, I believe it's effectively English society self-aborting. But here's what you do in Eastern Europe if you want to get rid of a population. First of all, what you do is you start moving new people in. You prioritise them for housing. You prioritise them for government jobs. You prioritise them for scholarships at universities. Then what you start doing is attacking the history and culture of the existing people. Take them off the television, so when they turn on the TV sets, it's the new population that's in there. Pull down their statues, dismantle their infrastructure, things like the bars they might go to, the churches they worship in, and start building new churches.
Defame the heroes.
Do not require people to speak the language of the previous people. In fact, encourage the usage of multi-languages, to pull down their statues, mock their heroes, burn their textbooks, and demand that they tell the new population that what they did was a holy force for bad and they are inferior to the new people. And basically that concept in Eastern Europe is that you turn on your TV and you go, I'm no longer welcome, it's time to leave. David, like it or not, that's happened in Birmingham.
I do think a lot of what you described we have seen in this country in recent years, and I think this is why I said this in the piece. I think to suggest that we can't identify as a people, there's something wrong with that, is an evil thing to do, to try and erase us as a people. And we simply have to choose to say no. We will not be erased.
But plenty of people, if you think about it, modern day Romanians are more closely related to the Romans than people in Italy. People have been removed before. Frankly, the family of Julius Caesar don't live in Rome anymore. Anyway, David, thank you so much, and thank you for a fascinating article. Do have a read of it, and we will be back in a couple of moments.
With Beanhead, look, Beanhead's coming to the room. Beanhead.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
This is the James Whale Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould. We are celebrating the first anniversary. It seems like 10 years. The first anniversary of Keir Starmer.
We're not celebrating it, are we?
Rachel Reeves was particularly emotional about it on Wednesday. Anyway, I was out and about. Do you know what? I was out and about. Somebody threatened to stab me, but I was out and about talking to people about Keir Starmer's first year in office. Unfortunately, the company won't let me show the guy who threatened to stab me. I'd have shown it personally. All I will say to him is, "G'day, mate," and take it away. It's Keir Starmer's first anniversary. Do you have one word to describe him?
Shit.
Shit. Who's the alternative, though? Be realistic. They're all pretty bad, aren't they?
I don't think there's any alternative. Probably being you, George.
Keir Starmer's first anniversary, what do you think?
I don't know.
Can you describe him in one word?
I don't know who he is.
What would be your first policy? Can I tell you what mine would be?
Go on.
I would put a man on Mars, and that man would be Prince Harry.
We're not even going to go there with him.
Can you describe Keir Starmer in one word?
I don't know.
Also, can you skip with this rope?
Keir Starmer. He's the man that can't say what woman is.
Can you describe Keir Starmer in one word?
Terrific.
Why?
EU.
EU, okay.
Yes, he understands.
It's Keir Starmer's first anniversary. Can you describe him in one word?
Whose first anniversary?
Okay, Keir Starmer, can you give me a backing?
Keir Starmer. He rocks the oat, he rocks the farmers too.
I don't like Boris Johnson. He has...
Well, we do surprise me. Is he a big fan of Keir Starmer and the Labour Party? Do you have any idea what I'm saying?
I don't speak more English. Portugal.
Right, I've got to say to you something. I'm trying to find reverse image search to try and find this nutter. But no, he was a nutter. Right, I've got to tell you what happened. My producer said, "Look, this guy's threatened to stab us. Can you have a word with him?"
To get someone else to stab you.
Yeah, you know what he said? He said, "I'll phone up somebody to stab you." Can you imagine? Ricky's been on the phone.
So you can actually have a stabbing delivered now.
Who are you phoning?
You can get anything delivered. Yeah.
Who are you phoning? Scarface or Vito Corleone?
So this is Sadiq Khan's London.
But anyway,
you can order a stabbing. This is
Beanhead. We'll introduce Beanhead in a moment, but let me tell you, when my producer said to me, can you have a word with this very angry man? What 2 words do you reckon I said to him that made him even worse?
Calm down.
Anyway, no, it was not calm down. It was go away in a very fulsome manner. People in the pub were laughing. Anyway, we are often joined, I don't know why, during this show, for That Was the Woke That Was, or Woke or Joke, and we're joined by Beanhead. Beanhead.
From the Monster Raving Loony Party.
So Barmy Brunch, who claims you can't work out who he is, but if you literally Google the words, "Who is Barmy Brunch?" it will give you your full name.
He's a sociology teacher in real life.
Oh, we're just getting closer every time.
It's not getting closer.
Sociology.
You can literally go, right, watch this. Right, I'm not going to list your name because you asked me not to, but if I go, look, who is Barmy Brunch from the Monster Raven Loony Party? Right, I'll turn down the volume there, but it'll give your name, where you work,
address,
full details.
But your name's Barmy Brunch, but Beanhead, I think it comes out.
I mean, it's a catchy one. Do you know why I never went with that? So it was a year ago.
Because you've got bacon, sausage, and tomato as well.
You know it. And also there was.
By the way, if you're listening on the radio, he's wearing a sort of gimp mask, but it's sort of covered in beans. It's got bacon rashers for ears, sausages for lips, and a tomato for the nose. Right, carry on.
That's it. And of course, today it's the anniversary of when that moment went viral. Jacob Rees-Mogg still quaking in his boots.
What are you?
I'm not. I'm thinking I might run again.
Are you?
So what was
got some new policies
as
well.
Is this an exclusive? You're breaking this
Yeah,
news?
why not? Why not?
Where are you running then?
Well, it's going to be that
Somerset, is it?
Yeah, it will be that one if there's... I might wait till the next general.
So what happened with you and Rice-Mogg?
So he stood there, I stood there.
He's
his
tall,
kids
he's a
cried.
very tall man.
That was that.
Oh, his kids cried?
Yeah,
They
made
were
his
scared
kids
of you,
cry.
were they?
Well, because it was all part. It was emotional for them because let's face it, their dad was
just lost,
humiliated on national TV.
But it wasn't your fault.
No,
but it wasn't a Portillo
You just added
moment.
to the humiliation.
It wasn't a Portillo moment because people they might not have liked Rees-Mogg, but they didn't see him as Satan.
And I guess, yeah.
Of course, we didn't know Portillo was that bad in '96.
And we actually like him now because he does those train programmes that we all know and love.
Love a good train. Love a great train.
I love his train journeys.
Yeah. What
Bradshaws.
position could you run for? So I'm thinking of running for office myself. You know what I'm thinking of running for?
Yeah.
In fact, I've registered earlier in the show. Ale Connor.
What's that?
Right, Ale Connor, I'm not joking, and Ale Connor wears lederhosens and goes to every pub in a specific area, pours the pint on the floor and sits in lederhosens. And
we do that anyway, so you may as well do it officially.
And if the beer is not of sufficient alcohol strength, then it will actually invade the lederhosens and make your bum wet. And therefore, it's a medieval way of knowing whether beer is sold of a certain quality.
These classic English traditions,
We
right?
should
all do that then.
Do you know do you know my favourite political position in Britain? Do you know what the secretary of the Order of the British Empire is called?
Oh, I did know. Oh, it's a weird. No, I'm not going to be able to think.
The bearer of the purple rod.
Oh, we do that as well, so you may as well do it officially.
There's the bearer of the black rod and there's the bearer of the purple rod.
And what's their official?
They are the.
Does he whack it against the door?
They are the clerk of the Order of the British Empire, purple rod.
Interesting. I should have dressed myself up as a purple rod and done
still
that.
time.
What if you change your name to Rod?
It's doable. It's very easy to change your name. I've done that before as well.
Really?
Very easy.
Why did you do it for security reasons? What, were you running away from your life?
Another
your
identity. And then it got revealed on another TV station and I had to leave that one and then...
I had a friend of mine who lost a bet and his middle name is now #WinkyFace.
I love that.
Also, I've got a friend of mine whose middle name's a Falco Lombardi. Which he still uses. But my mate whose middle name is #WinkyFace, what he actually does is he signs his initial as a hashtag in the middle because it is actually a hashtag. And he said apparently #WinkyFace regularly goes viral on Twitter, regularly trends. So his name often.
I wonder what time of night it goes viral. #WinkyFace.
Yeah.
At a certain time of night. We'll
Absolutely.
Take that.
Absolutely. Now, look, you've gone through some of the stories in the paper. What have you got?
Well, I've got a real crap story for you. Two men...
Literally?
Quite literally. Two men have been jailed for a 4.8 million gold toilet heist. One of them used it before he nicked it. Genuinely.
Oh.
That was part of the case.
I rewashed it. I mean, they're taking it with them. Why didn't they?
Yeah, I think...
Hang on a second. The stupid... Right, if you steal the solid gold toilet in Blenheim Palace, right, wasn't properly guarded, idiots. However, if you take a poo in it, you have now supplied your DNA...
For testing.
Yeah, but you're taking it with you anyway. But the thing is, it wasn't useful. People were using it. You were getting 10 minutes to go.
That's right. He did a recon months before.
And then literally they had this solid gold, 18-carat gold toilet at Blenheim Palace, some kind of artwork by some Italian or someone else. These guys went in like quite easy getting Blenheim Palace and literally just ripped it out. They caused the flood damage. Because the pipes are all broken.
I think that was the least of the concerns of the...
Well, yeah, but it is Blenheim Palace, so it was a very expensive fix. It flooded all night, and this ain't, it's very old. He has to be restored to... But then
Churchill was born there.
Churchill was born there.
Do you know something? Can I tell you the shock of it? They've bought that house twice.
No, what
Blenheim Palace?
They bought it back. So
it was gifted to them, wasn't it? For Blenheim.
What happened? So they were gifted it after the defeat of Napoleon. The Duke of Marlborough was
at Blenheim.
However,
John Churchill.
The British Parliament changed their mind and forced him to pay for it. And then the current Duke, I think, because Jamie Blandford's not the Duke yet, is he? But anyway, the current Duke. He was taxed at 98% inheritance tax.
Like the Beatles.
So I had to buy it a second time.
Goodness.
And do you know what? Because it's celebrating English speaking the French, it's actually there's a stone lock because the French symbol and the British symbol, it's a lion with a drooping cock in its mouth.
Wowzer.
To signal the French, obviously, the cocks.
What, and where's that? At the front
That's
of
like
the
the
house?
frontispiece of Blenheim, yeah. And Churchill didn't live there. He was born there because he was the you know, nephew of the...
That's right. And he
John
proposed...
Churchill was his great-grandfather, who he wrote books about, war books, and that sort of... at the time, he became an expert in war from studying his own great-grandfather.
And do you know, I think it was also that he proposed there, which is actually a show that I'm also doing, which we'll talk about another time.
So can I just say one thing? Why is it a palace?
Oh, you've looked it up.
It's the only palace that's not royal, isn't it?
I thought it is actually a royal palace. The reason is, I thought he was actually also made Prince of Waterloo, but he wasn't. He was made Prince of Mindelheim and Prince of Nettenberg. Apparently, what is it? The freed Flemish made him a prince as well.
Yeah, it's not proper royal family, is it? But I mean, anyway, you know, they get the toilet. They never got it back, did they? It was melted down. So actually, 4 and 2 years, if they can get it, if they haven't got the protein to crime act, it's worth keeping your nose clean, getting out, and then moving to Brazil.
18-karat gold.
Imagine that, and 80. What's so good about this modern art? It reminds me of the guy who was taking the mick out of modern art, the French guy of Belgium with the urinal. It was the first modern.
Yeah.
And it's again a toilet. I suppose it was a play on that, wasn't it?
It was a play on that, but I mean, how pure is the gold after everyone's had a crap in it?
Well, no, just remember, gold's indestructible. Always believe in gold.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's Tony Hagley.
It'd be quite smooth on your buttocks, though, wouldn't it? Gold.
It would
It'd be lovely. It's quite soft.
But also, the other thing is, because it is so soft, it rubs off, doesn't it? So actually, whilst it wouldn't be a large amount, your buttocks would actually remove some of the atoms of the gold.
And that's as far as I can go to picture that.
Well, if you think about it, they make chocolate with gold.
You don't like to imagine my buttocks having gold smeared on them.
No, it's in my mind's eye.
I'll do you one worse. I've got a mate who on a WhatsApp group sends photos of his own that he's just done.
We've all done that.
Why?
But photos, well, exactly, that's what many have said.
You've got to stop doing that,
There used to be that website, ratemypoo.com.
I think he's on that.
Why?
He's a lawyer in his own time.
Yeah, ratemypoo.com is well known, yeah. Check it out.
Strange boy. But
why would you go...
But it is quite fascinating, the different types.
Why would you go, oh, what must pop on stage? I had a friend of mine who used to rate his visits to toilets based on nuclear... he'd go, I've done a Hiroshima this time.
But they are like snowflakes. They're all individual. No two are the same. Anyway, what's your next story?
Yeah, so that's that one done and dusted. So, speaking of inappropriate things on TV, a Twix ad has been banned. Did you see this?
I've heard about it, yeah. On the word on the street, people are talking about this.
Yeah, unsafe driving. So apparently, because you're not meant to, obviously, operate other things while you're driving, if you get too involved in eating a Twix, and we're talking full-on sensations...
Well, of course, a Twix is 2 fingers, so it's a Yorkie or something might be easier. There's one bit to
Just
bite.
Get it
You've
in
got
your
2, and
no, Yorkies are for
truckers,
aren't they?
Swerving off the road.
Yeah, you've got to get a Yorkie because it's not for girls, a Yorkie.
That was the advert, wasn't it? There we go. Speaking of woke stories,
so somebody told me that there was a shortage of chocolates, and apparently was it Rowntree Macintosh bought a load of chocolate, and then they realised that actually they'd bought too much, and they went, what are we going to do with it? Let's make a solid chocolate bar, because nobody had actually made a solid chocolate bar until then.
The best.
Is that true? What? So what did it have in it?
Look, here's Beanhead.
Oh, here he is.
This is Beanhead and Reese.
On the timber there, haven't you?
There you can see.
Yeah, actually, someone else said. You said last time I looked like Matt Lucas.
Yeah.
And I don't know which bit was which.
So that's him. If you listen on the radio, that's Beanhead next to Rice Mog.
You also had what I call a British Airways shirt. Have you noticed that everybody who works at British Airways, like the shirts are really tight? What is it about British Airways and tight T-shirts?
And every time I've flown with them, I've not been that pleased. I've been a bit disappointed.
Can I tell you?
You've lost weight since then, haven't you?
I have, yeah, he was just saying that.
I went as an election monitor in Latvia, and I got very, very drunk on the last night and had a fight with some Latvian Air staff cabin crew. It just turned to violence. And I said to my mates the next day, I went, by the way, you know how it's me? And they went, yes. I went, Latvian Air operates 50 different planes. But I guarantee you. And they went, no, it won't happen. I went, I guarantee you. When we get on, it was them. It was the people I'd had a fight with. I think one of them had done a fair amount of damage.
Did they recognise you?
Yeah, they did, yeah. They weren't very keen on me at all, no.
But they let you board?
No, well, what had happened was I got my head down because I thought they wouldn't allow me on the plane. It was only at takeoff when they actually came round to serve the food, they realised it was me. And there was a fair degree of anger. Mind you, I'll tell you what happened. Honestly, I've got to tell you this story about what happened so there was a company that's now been discredited that asked me if I wanted to be an election monitor in Latvia.
Good gig.
Right. So they said, all you do is we'll put you up in a 5-star hotel, take you and your mates, get on the brew for a week and just go around these ballot boxes. And the food was brilliant. It was great. But when we got on the plane, the girl who came with us, I won't say her name, but she had a very similar name to one of Vladimir Putin's close friends. And I said, is she the daughter of this guy who worked in the cage? And they went, yes. When I arrived, we weren't monitoring the Latvian election. We were monitoring an alternative ethnic Russian election that was taking place in Latvia that was being paid for by Vladimir Putin. Right. Now, I got back to the House of Commons, and I'm sorry to admit some wrongdoing, but I had to put my declaration of foreign gifts. And I wasn't willing to put down £1,500 Vladimir Putin, right, because that would have gone down badly.
Doesn't land
However,
well.
at the time, what had happened was David Cameron had set up, do you remember that European Conservative group? And there was enough MEPs from Poland and the UK to have enough MEPs, but they didn't have enough countries. They only had one Latvian. And if this one Latvian left the European Conservative group, the European Conservative Party was going to collapse. What do you think happened after my visit to Latvia?
It collapsed.
This woman got back to the European Parliament and said, Andre Walker, why was it me? Andre Walker has come over supporting Vladimir Putin in Latvia. He's a member of Conservative parliamentary staff. I'm leaving the group and collapsing it. I'm going to phone David Cameron. Right. So I had to firefight that particular problem, which was Andre's illicit payment from Vladimir Putin was causing the collapse of the European Conservative Party. Thankfully, I managed to just...
He owes you a favour.
You know as well, with Putin, they say he's got about 6 or 7 doubles. So it may not have been actually Putin who did it.
There's a friend of mine who works in this building who got arrested at a city airport because he was asked in his capacity as a journalist to go on a fact-finding mission to Moscow, and he was flying around in Vladimir Putin's private jet, and apparently they stopped him and they said, given that you work in this building, why do you have Vladimir Putin's jet? Oh, I feel like a bit of a tit now, if I'm being honest.
He's got a few, hasn't he? Now, what's your next story being?
So, that's done and dusted.
Yeah,
Speaking of the summer, and it's balmy outside. Well, in a month's time, the schools are breaking, but one school's already finished because of a dive-bombing buzzard.
Yes.
Buzzards are quite dangerous. Have you ever been pecked on the head by a bird?
No.
I have. It's hard and it hurts. It's usually because they're protecting their offspring. I've been pecked by a crow.
What were you doing with their offspring?
Well, no, I was just walking past.
What were you doing with the offspring, Beanhead? No, well, there's a university...
Beanhead was sexually assaulting the offspring.
Oh, here we go.
There's one of these colleges...
Of a bird, right? Not oh, you'd have problems with your DBS.
One of the Oxford colleges is having a problem with seagulls and gannets dropping stones onto the windows, and they're shattering, because it's something they do in nature. They drop mussels and cockles on stones and things.
And of course, how they attack.
It's cracking. They'll attack you now. And it's apparently because of all the litter on the floor, they're getting eaten all the E numbers, and they're becoming like big, like dangerous animals, like the rats in Birmingham.
And the dolphins with mercury in their system, all of that.
Oh, they're crazy.
Oh, I think the worst one of any animals that are being harmed is whales who eat plastic bags thinking they're jellyfish. And of course, what they do is their stomachs are full, but they die of starvation.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's
nasty,
well.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Nasty.
That's...
Anyway, so there's a dive-bombing buzzard attacking children at a school. You know, honestly, in my day, they would have just gone, just get on with it.
Yeah, just get in there.
Yeah, that's right. It's only a bit of snow.
I was actually chilling at the old place by Waterloo Bridge, just sitting there, and suddenly there was a smash through the trees, and this blackbird was attacked by a peregrine falcon, literally in front of me, because there's peregrine falcons on the... on the Tate Modern Gallery and around some of the tall buildings.
What do they put there?
Well, I think they put them because they like cliffs, and they brought them in, and now they used to be, you know, indigenous, so they brought them back. And one right in front of me, I was just sitting in a chair in a park, it just got this and flew away. And I thought it was a sparrowhawk, but the next day it just happened that Bill Oddie was on the show.
Oh, God.
So he went, oh, no, that's actually a peregrine falcon. I think it's a
female. Bill Oddie.
I think it's a female. So, yeah, peregrine falcon. Next door.
I've got to tell you this story. I had a friend of mine, my cousin. My cousin, when he was 5, my uncle keeps owls. Right, he loves owls for whatever reason, and
everyone loves
one of his
owl.
owls was called Auntie Molly, right. and my cousin had to write down who were members of his family, and he wrote down, in my family, I have my mum, my dad, and my Auntie Molly. Auntie Molly lives at the end of the garden. She's not. She's only my dad's bird, which I thought was an absolute classic.
There was a load of owls about 4 years ago. I used to hear them at night in the summer and that, and they've disappeared again. They suddenly were...
What type of bird is it that they actually put at Wimbledon during the tennis?
A hawk, isn't it?
Yes, a hawk. They actually use it to get rid of the pigeons.
And they use them at airlines, airports.
I read a great story.
Ken Livingstone used them at Trafalgar Square to get rid of the pigeons.
I heard a great... Hitler.
Pigeons.
I remember reading this article once. I don't know if this is true, but I wish it was. There was this woman, she said she'd gone to a particular event and she was sat with another woman, and she went, she said, oh, my husband has a very odd hobby. She went, what's that? And he said, well, every night before he goes to bed, and he's been doing this for 25 years, he whistles.
Helps him sleep.
He whistles to the birds.
Oh, yeah.
And she goes, oh, what do you mean? Well, apparently what happened was he went out one night and he heard a bird whistling, and so he whistled back. And actually what he does now, every night before he goes to bed at 10 o'clock, he whistles to the birds, and they do whistle back. It's really amazing. And the other woman went, it's funny you should say that, because my husband does the same thing. And they worked out they lived 10 doors apart, and for 23 years these two old codgers had been whistling to each other, believing the other one was a bird.
They must have been good bird whistlers.
Or they were just crap at it and didn't realise. Anyway, Beanhead, what's next?
So we've done the birds. Now...
Have you? Well done.
Tick that one off.
Hey.
But we are now 2025. How long do you think... Digestive biscuits.
150 years.
They're rubbish.
That's not actually that far out.
Yeah, well, I know my history on biscuits and that. Yeah.
It's been just over 100 years, and it turns out we've been eating them wrong. So if you have a good biscuit, you'll...
You mean upside down, that old quandary?
Right, so the old thing
I know
is...
my biscuits.
Yeah, but the boss has now said there's a proper way to eat it. You might know
He says
yours.
this every 5 years.
He doesn't get more attention.
Yeah, he does.
He does. Shit that story out. There's another way of eating it. Break
it's
it.
like
the cream egg.
It's like the what is it? Is it Lidl and their Crown hash brown that they have every April Fool's Day?
And it's like, how many different Crown hash browns?
Lidl have launched the bizarre products, have they? Right, what way should you eat to digest? I mean, just don't buy them. I mean, I just think, honestly, I think chocolate hobnobs.
Well, they're a sort of bastardisation of the digestive. Go on then, Beanhead, where should we be eating
Yeah,
them?
so the general manager has said, there's the debate, we acknowledge that, but what we've got to say is, actually, you're meant to eat it the other way round to the chocolate side up. So you're meant to eat it face down.
So the tongue is in contact with the... Is that why? For the flavonoids?
The flavour, the
flavour.
taste,
And the melting.
There you go, there's a sign.
Well, I told you, I know my biscuit.
You know your bit, right?
And this is in Stockport. I used to live near the
Comment
factory.
withdrawn.
But, I mean, the thing is, I noticed the other day, McVitie's Digestive, because it's a staple, isn't it, the chocolate digestive?
Yeah.
Being almost like fish and chips.
Oh, no.
And I noticed they're making them in a box now. They're trying to turn it into a gourmet product so they can put the price up, you know what I mean? Because everything's going up, shrinkflation, put them in a box, make it more like a gift rather than a staple biscuit.
Digestives, though, does that suggest that, like, when it was invented, it was a digestive?
Yeah, it was built.
It was meant to be.
Again, I know about this. Yeah, it was like cornflakes. Back then, there was a big thing, wasn't there, for things helping your guts?
Is cornflakes gruel?
Well, no, you taught me that. That's one gap in my knowledge. Did you know Ovaltine and Horlicks are actually gruel?
Did you know that?
Oh,
see,
the types of gruel.
Educational, this programme.
So what actually is gruel, though? Because
Horlicks and Ovaltine.
No, all it is basically cereal ground up mixed with milk, warm. It's runny porridge.
So it's not that bad, is it? It's quite nice.
Not that bad.
No wonder he wanted more.
So it does say the makers of Ovaltine and Horlicks don't put "this is gruel" on the packet.
But do you know
that's not the best one?
One thing you can tell about.
By the way, I love it the way that Chuck, the producer, hates us talking about gruel.
But don't you think?
We've done it about
do you not think whether a person likes dark chocolate or digestives or milk chocolate? You can tell because you find more educated, sophisticated people like the dark chocolate ones, don't they? And more the commercial, light-headed, buffoons. They like the milk chocolate.
Do they do white chocolate ones?
They do now, but ignore them. Yeah. There used to be a thing called soggy biscuits at private schools.
Oh!
They look like the white chocolate ones, but enough of that. Are you a milk chocolate or a dark chocolate?
Oh, if I'm being healthy, it's dark.
Yeah, well, yeah. But what would you have to choose?
Healthy chocolate.
Milk.
Absolutely.
Milk.
Well, you got because I've got into this
Typical, but I
fitness
mean,
regime.
I was saying this the other day. Do you know what
I rest my case.
I went to an event once, and what they did was they got the Magnum. You know, the ice cream thing.
Not the gun.
They put it in liquid nitrogen so it froze to like -70 or whatever, and then dipped it in hot chocolate, liquid nitrogen, not hot chocolate, warm chocolate, then like nuts, and they put like about 15 layers on it. It was just heart failure.
But it's dangerous when you not use liquid nitrogen. It can.
Gabby Scanlon.
She had to have her esophagus and stomach removed.
Yes, her stomach.
Don't ever drink liquid nitrogen, whatever it is. Any of those silly pubs that sell it.
Stick to your brunch.
She drank the rocks of liquid nitrogen, which froze her stomach, and then it smashed.
And on that bombshell, we'll be back in 2 minutes. Keep it talk.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk, and just to remind you, we call him Beanhead, but we're with Barmy Brunch, who is, it's fair to say, somebody who has fashioned a breakfast-style helmet to put over your head in order to highlight some of the crazier bits of politics.
And to hide his identity from the school kids that he's a serious teacher, and obviously this would ruin his career if they found.
They must
it's a bit
have
like
guessed.
Spider-Man, isn't it? A bit like Spider-Man.
Well, the obviously the body's the same. It's a naff Spider-Man. Let's face it. Like it is, if we're talking Spider-Man, like of all the things,
because it's only the head.
But if you go, if you go into Google, have none of the kids gone, who is Barmy? It's almost like Superman, where he just put the glasses on, and nobody realised it was him.
Well,
I mean, she was dating him. I mean,
they're all on the Snapchat tick. I'm not in any of that.
Kids these
I'm on
days,
Instagram, but no one looks at that who's 40.
So they've just not thought.
They've just not look. No, they don't really.
They're
care
just
about
busy
politics.
playing on their Tamagotchis all day. They don't. Their brains are mush.
Mushed out and just sort of 10 seconds.
But have they talked about Barmy Brunch?
What was funny is it was put in the school did a mock election and they said this is what the Monster Raving Loony Party looks like, and I was there as a picture.
And they didn't know it was you.
A couple of sixth formers said, we recognise that shirt, and then a few of my friends' teachers who I'm friends with were like, they just shut it down quite quickly, and I just played to it. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm actually the Minister for TV of the Monster Raving Loony Party. I got in the New Year's Honours list a couple of years back.
Did you really? Well, of course, the party chairman's 85, I think, next month.
You always know how to find the Monster Raving Loony Party, because that guy with the cowboy hat, you know, the little fat one.
He looks like Boss Hogg from the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, he looks like a barrel.
Just a good old boy.
That's the treasurer, I think.
He just basically joined any by-election. He just sits and gets scolded Weatherspoons for the full 4 weeks.
I was actually with him on I was a vote monitor at the Cameron vote that he was at with my mate Aaron Barshak. I was an official vote monitor.
Hang on a second. Yeah. I remember that name, Aaron Barshak. He's the comedy terrorist.
The guy that broke into Windsor Castle, yeah.
Do you remember him? He made a speech at Prince William's 21st.
Yeah. Do you know, he climbed over the wall of Windsor and the police got there and they just went, oh, they thought he must be in the party. It's that way. You've got lost, sir, and guided him into it.
They've significantly upped security now.
But with his help, they actually helped. He went to help them, you know, they asked him how he got in, and you can't get in like that anymore.
No, you can't.
Next story.
For those of you that are interested, it's where the Castle chapter Muse is, just next to St George's School. You know that door that goes up the steps? That's how he got in. Oh, sorry.
You can't do it now anyway.
It's opposite the Yangtze Chinese takeaway.
That's where he was trying to get. What's your next story, Beanhead?
Have you ever thought about breastfeeding?
Yes, very much so.
Oh, here we go then.
Me and Ash should do it all the time.
You can lactate if you get enough hormones in you.
Well, the NHS
and you look at pictures of babies.
Well, they're looking at training midwives to advocate for male breastfeeding over and above female breastfeeding. So birthing people don't have to all be women. So you can obviously get all the equipment, get all that set up. But it turns out if you all go through all the training courses and all of that, turns out there's some male midwives that are actually better.
What? So you get a suction cup on it and it starts doing it?
You've seen the ones. It's like a sort of...
And that will stimulate
a man
afterwards.
Well, goodness knows, I'm not trying
to have to add a hormone.
I think they did. I mean, the headline is staff train midwives in trans breastfeeding workshops.
Yeah, but hang on a second, and I'm making this as a serious point. If this was my child and some fella said, "I want your," and I'm not saying this as a joke, "I want your child to suck my nipples," I'm not.
It's not a very good joke anyway.
Because there is an element of this. To what extent is this a fetish, and to what extent is it a lifestyle choice?
Well, they were talking, weren't they, of trans people? They could get men, and they were going to add the hormones, and you know, they were going to safe for the baby. Ugh. It's just outrageous, isn't it?
Well, that's what they're doing. The NHS is up for it.
Of course it is.
Yeah, for as long as they're still here, that's what they're going for.
I've got to be honest with you. Look, I mean, this organisation, I've never met any of the members of the Queer Birth Club, but I mean, the Queer Birth Club, I mean, what is that?
Sounds like a sort of tennis club.
Well, it's not, though, is it? I mean, basically, what... It's just, I mean...
there's no balls.
Basically, they're just...
No,
what they're doing is, they've got things that they like to do, either for sexual purposes or for leisure. And I've always said on this show, you know, if you want to dress a woman, get on with it. You only live once. Enjoy yourself, knock yourself out. But it's the way they seem to constantly target getting children involved and claiming... Did you see that? Did you see that big fella who looked like Nigel Adams, the former government minister, who self-defined as a 7-year-old girl? Do you see him?
There was a lot of people using it as a Trojan horse, weren't they, to get access?
Yeah, it's all a bit... I mean, it's all gone a bit far, hasn't it? This certainly is the next step, but maybe that's why bits of the NHS...
It's going in reverse, though, isn't it? I mean, there was some institution this week said, well, we're ignoring the Supreme Court thing.
They're just going to plough ahead with their own ideology?
I think we're going to have to do something, actually. The Royal College of Midwives are here. A lot of these big historic institutions, because basically, they were basically 4 old duffers and a dog, now been taken over by these extremists. And a lot of these organisations, like the Royal College of Midwives, are actually quite wealthy and powerful institutions.
They are.
And it may well be that we have to significantly reform them. As an example, you know, making it clear that you don't have to be a member of the British Medical Association in order to be a GP and things like that.
Which politician was it who was slow clapped by the WI? Was it?
It was Blair.
Blair, wasn't it? They started clapping him off.
That's right.
Yeah, because he made the political speech. They were all expecting him to talk about his favourite jam. Like my favourite. Do you remember those WI women in Little Britain?
Yeah.
Whenever they discovered it, like the cake was made by a gay person, they puke up.
Yeah.
That's superb. It was made by the local Indian girl. Oh, Margaret, don't. Brilliant.
Next story, Beanhead.
So, this one's good. Go woke or go broke. Jaguar sales have crashed 97.5% since rebrand that stunned fans. So I don't know if you've seen this advert that has nothing to do with cars.
Although, to be fair, in defence of Jaguar, they had no cars at the time.
So they just thought, we'll just...
they don't need them now.
No, just to be clear.
Because of the tariffs.
Jaguar has stopped making cars.
Yeah, they went all electric.
What they said is, because of their need to rebrand, they've stopped making everything and they're going to launch a range of electric luxury cars. So this advert was coming out when they didn't have a car to show you.
Well, they still did have it. They just didn't. They were just trying to be clever. We won't show them the car. We'll hate our customer base, you know, Jagman. We'll get rid of the logo and we'll troll them and we'll have with horrendous clothes with their hair chopped out like the barbers made a mistake. And this is the coolest DI thing. And
what
they'll
amazes
all buy
me,
our cars, which
everybody know. I mean, I'm a Freemason. I know many Jaguar owners, right? Let's just be clear, right? There's no doubt there's a men of a certain age like Jaguars, right? I will tell you, You wouldn't last 5 minutes round our way if you wore that, right? You just wouldn't.
You've tried it.
So you just wouldn't. You attempt to go into the Windsor Castle Masonic Lodge wearing that thing with your, you know. Well,
you should do your walker's walkabout with like dressed
wearing
like
that. Yeah. See,
well, they've only sold 2,500 motors since they did the ads. So
I mean, that's a disaster, isn't it?
Did you see the launch? They had because they're all electric now, but they had to get a diesel generator to charge it. I mean, it was pathetic. And getting rid of the logo, and I mean, and the colours of the cars were like pink, and it was really it was basically trolling, like the Budweiser, trolling the audience.
I remember in 1997 when I was a member of the Conservative Party, and people always used to walk up to you and go, I'll tell you who you should get, Ken Clarke. He's the one. And then they'd go on, they would mount your leg about Ken Clarke for about 3 hours, and then you'd go...
Is that the Freemasons?
Would you vote for Ken Clarke? Oh, I wouldn't vote for the Tories if you paid me. The problem is, Jaguar are appealing to people who will never buy a Jaguar.
Yeah. It's the deranged people at the top now.
Yeah.
It's like you've got incompetent politicians, you've got incompetent... It's all been captured by people who are actually incompetent.
Right, so they go, oh, Dylan Mulvaney, Bud Light. They go, but trans people drink beer too. Do they? Because down my local pub, there's not many of them. Right, there isn't. Right, you go, oh, yeah, in theory they do.
There could be 0.0001%.
I mean, Dylan Mulvaney, of all the things that person has attempted to do, scull a pint, burp and fart down my local boozer, that is not what that person wants to do. That's not the aspiration in life. It isn't. It isn't. Talk about the footy with that bloke, my mate Lloyd, who's still going on about Man City about 50 years later, right?
But that's where we're going, sadly, isn't it? Unless it swings the other way.
But it is already swinging the other way.
You think it's going to... But the momentum...
Since Trump got in, I mean, no, they're fighting, you know, they're fighting for their lives because they know when it does turn the other way. We've got all the receipts on, you know, social media, so they know they can't... They're trying to switch sides, some of them, but they know they can't because they're trapped with social media. Everyone knows you can't hide.
They know they're unpopular, and they're just sat there going, "It doesn't matter because we run this is a Tony Blair stakeholder society. Whichever way you vote, nothing changes."
Yeah, and whatever happens, it's 4 years.
I mean, I'll tell you something. You look at and it's only reform at local council. I forget which local council. They walked in. The new leader of the council said, "Take down the gay rainbow flag," and the chief executive said no. That's it.
And now Tony Blair has turned his attention.
And that was that.
Keir Starmer was Tony Blair's, you know, project, but he's not happy with him. So apparently now Angela Rayner is cozying up Tony Blair. Angela Rayner is the new one, and that's who they're lining up to be the next Prime Minister.
By the way, I do
Blair's running things. Don't worry about that.
By the way, I like this picture of Jacob Rees-Mogg. Look at that dinner plate that he's got rather than a rosette. Do you remember the Alan Clark one, which was basically it was like Alan Partridge's big plate? Do you remember from the Linton Travel Tavern? Have you got your big plate, Alan? It's like that.
Was he a nice guy, Rees-Mogg?
Well, he gave me the warmest reception on the night because it is. If you ever want to dress up in a
beanhead, I love.
It was a bit like that. He said, "Have you had a good night?"
I love your stuff, beanhead.
I've had a great night. Have you had a good night?
Although, to be fair, who is the more orange of the two?
And who's the weirder of the two?
It's a reasonable point. He's devastated, isn't he? He's very upset.
He tried to hide the fact that, I mean, he knew, because that's the thing as well. It's no secret when they do the announcement at 5 a.m.
Yes.
You know 2 hours before what's happened because
so what generally happens is that you will be at home, probably not you.
No, I was there.
But your agent will phone up and go, "Look, don't think we've done this." And when they know whether you've won or lost, that's when you generally arrive.
Yes.
And then what happens is there's a verification, which you all get gathered round, you and your electoral agent, and they go, "Here are the 50 ballots we propose to reject." Because it says "I love Nick Griffin" or whatever it is, stupid stuff that people have written down. You do see that. Do you know what I used to do? I used to write something that the candidate didn't want everyone else to know. Right, because they go, "Look at this," and it said, "Nobody knows that Simon." I won't tell you exactly what it said, but yeah. So he then has to, and this is the bad bit. You have to get up on stage, and you then have to take it. It's not a surprise.
No, it's not a surprise.
Unless you're Camilla Harris in America, she sort of didn't turn up, did she?
So that happened. What? And then they said
she knew she'd lost, so she just went home with her cricket bat. Hillary Clinton as well. They're very sore losers, the left, aren't they?
Well, I think here you have to be at least giving a reason for why. Because I think I was given quite.
What are they going to do, Beanhead, if you didn't?
True. They'll just be
You've lost your deposit anyway.
Lost your deposit. 500 quid's gone.
How many votes did you get?
211.
That's pretty good.
That's not that bad, actually, is it?
Not too bad.
I mean, 200, because presumably you couldn't vote because you don't live there.
No, my
But
mum
some
did.
people only...
She didn't vote for me, though.
My seat, the person only won by about 10 votes, so it could swing it for someone.
It could have, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
some of the spoiled ballots, they'd written bunch of losers on it. And I said, well, I think they mean brunch of losers. Put that for me. But they weren't happy
I'll
with
tell you, my favourite story was there was an election, a by-election to the Highlands and Islands Council, I think in the 1970s, where every candidate, all 6 of them, was called MacLeod, and they were all independent. And in the end, the Reverend MacLeod won, which I think is a testament to support for the Church of Scotland.
Yeah, Church of Scotland. I wonder how many. I suppose you have to, if you're head of state, you have. Is that right? There's some weird rule that you have to, if you're head of Prime Minister, you have to do something connected with the Church of England. Is that still?
Well, no, you are. You're banned from being a Catholic if you're the British Prime Minister.
That's it. Isn't
But
it
they've got
some
rid of that
weird
law. That law's not there anymore, is it?
I think it is.
I think they got rid of it a few years ago.
Because Keir Starmer, wasn't he?
No.
He's got some Jewish
It's
connections.
important to understand. You can be anything other than Catholic. The reason is when the law came in, there was only Catholics and Protestants, so they didn't include Hindus and Jews and stuff because it just wasn't.
You
a
couldn't
thing.
be Jewish until Disraeli, but he had to convert to Christianity, didn't he, to get in?
Yeah, because of course in the days of Disraeli, being Jewish was a religion, not an ethnicity. It was Hitler who came up with that idea. So the minute you converted from being a Jew to being a Christian, that was the end of the persecution.
Yeah.
Assuming they believed you were genuine. But see, this is the worst bit, Barmy Brunch. I mean, this is bad. Have you heard about the tapas thing?
No.
Right. The reason why when you go into a shop in Spain, they offer you a small piece of pork and a glass of wine is to confirm you're not Muslim. It goes back to when they expelled the
Jewish,
Jews.
I suppose, with the
No, because
Inquisition.
the Jew would drink some wine.
You wouldn't have the pork.
We're talking crusades.
Wouldn't have the pork. Yes,
So you can actually tell from what they had. If they have the wine and not the pork, that's very clever, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody expects the spell. I would have had it and gone home.
Yeah, the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah.
Okay, on which bombshell about why tapas is a racist assault against our Muslim brethren, we will be back in a moment with Beanhead.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hi, yeah, it's Talk. It's me and Andre. I'll just centre in myself. It's me and Andre in for James Wales, and we're going through some of the quirky, funny stories with Beanhead, Barmy Brunch from the Monster Raving Loony Party, stood against Jacob Rees-Mogg, and we've got a few stories and a little bit of data. What's your next one that you've got there?
Oh, a good one. So,
Andre's just gone to point Percy at the porcelain.
yeah, he's had a bit too much water or other substances.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
Speaking of which, only here for half a beer. 3-in-1 Brits now very careful on their boozing. How careful are you?
I've never been. I drink, but I don't drink to excess like every day. I mean, I was in a band once, and the drummer in it, he only had a couple of pints every night. But in his 40s, it killed him because you don't know how it can affect different biology until it's too late.
And I guess it's like if you're doing it every day, that's gonna.
Yeah, even he only had a couple of pints a day though.
Couple of pints, but still.
And that killed him in his 40s.
Oh,
so
dear.
you don't know, and the doctors. How you doing? All right, man. Andre's back, yeah.
Very poor.
Do you drink, Beanie? Do you like it?
A bit here and there. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
You got a problem? Then?
Well,
Sounds like the way you said
part
that.
of the reason I've lost a bit of weight is I just thought actually this is gonna
Cut
catch
out
up
the 12
with me.
pints a night.
Cut out the 12. Cut out the other stuff.
What, cocaine?
Do you have to? How do you drink it through the mask? A straw or something?
Yeah, do it through the straw.
The other stuff is hard drugs, isn't it? What is the other stuff?
Well, no, that's the stuff that's done the weight change.
No, hang on a second. What? Right, if you say
Okay.
I've cut off
Pizza.
drinking and the other carbs. Sorry, but when you say I've cut out alcohol and the other stuff, I assume that to be hard drugs.
It's dubious. No, so yeah. I mean, I was having pizzas most nights, curries, the whole shebang.
Yeah. Living the life.
It got to Christmas. I
Are you
saw
not
myself.
married then?
I'm not married. I'm not
So
married.
you got a Christmas when
that
you,
was probably
you,
why.
you traditionally put on weight at Christmas. You
Well,
were
yeah.
worried about that. So what did you do?
Well,
It's
I
very
just sat
Atkins,
there.
though. By the time you've had that turkey leg, which is about the size of Uganda.
So you just sat there and everyone else ate and you just sat there?
No, I just thought this is too much. This is too much for a man to be something like, I think at one stage I was 125 kilograms.
What's
that in English?
That is, what's that in stone? That's what, 18, 19 stone? 18 stone. That's too
And
much.
now what, you're about 13, 14?
Now
I think I'm
I've
about
lost 3
18
stone.
That's very good, very good.
But I think you probably do more active stuff than me. I'm just here in a bean mask talking on a stick. That's me.
I'll tell you what I did. I'll tell you what I did
When you
start
put it
doing,
like
which is
that,
a disgrace. Which is a disgrace. For those of you that know Ascot, I used to live by Car Park 6. I used to get a taxi to Ascot Station, which is at Car Park 1. So that was supremely. And you know what I did one day? I actually walked from my house to the station, and you know when your legs get sore because your muscles haven't been used. I was like Keanu Reeves in The Matrix. You know, my eyes were hurting because I hadn't used them before. Right, it was not good. But see, I'm perfect now. I've given up drinking. I've given it up forever. Genuinely, we made jokes about getting gout. I'm not having it anymore. And all you need to do is give up booze. And I just eat anything I want.
I had a mate who used to drink quite heavily, you know, the old style, you know, 9, 10 pints, and then he'd cut it out for a month. And he'd lose like three stone or something. Then he'd put it back on, you know, once the month was over.
And that's the majority. Like, so as I was saying, like So 3 in 4 Brits are now being very careful on what they drink. So we're not a nation of sensible drinkers. We are now.
But even like some people drink a bottle of wine a night and don't realise the harm to some people that will be doing. Some people, like, you know, Churchill was drinking morning till night, and it's all about your DNA. He lived till 90 odd. He was smoking, shoving truffles down his mouth. But some people, like I say, can drink a couple of pints or a bottle of wine.
He did also, Asher, and it's never been publicly admitted, he was also wearing a nappy in his second term of office as Prime Minister.
That was just a fetish.
I mean, he was. It was
a Savile Row nappy.
But see, here's my view on all of it, right? I'm not going to be a zealot for low drinking. In reality, if you are 18 years old, you know what? You can basically get shedded and make it into work the next day and be reasonably functional, right? The reason why I'm giving up drinking forever is because age 46, I just don't care. It just doesn't bother me. It's not. I don't need to scull 8 pints of lager and a bottle of vodka.
But even if you are 18, 19, you know, some kids really do their livers in, don't they? So you really should only, you know, drink as little as possible.
No, don't take that advice. You would be a communist if you drank moderately as a teenager. And no, I mean, all of these people. I mean, it's pathetic. I went back to my old university. Oh, let's get an app and have a coffee. No.
Well, kids don't drink. That's the other thing. They don't have sex and they don't drink now. It's because they're all on their Tamagotchis. And on that bombshell, we'll be back in 2 minutes.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk, and the alcohol-free beer was called Calibre. That was
still going, Calibre.
That was dreadful. That was dreadful. That urine, was it? Hey, I'll tell you what. My dad goes to Lee East. My dad goes to Lee East Labour Club on a Saturday night. He's been going for years. Used to go with my mum. Now she's sadly passed away. He's gone back to going, and because. I don't mean to be horrible to Lee East Labour Club, but because they're all so stingy and they don't want to get a taxi, they all drink Guinness Zero so they can drive home. Guinness Zero's all right.
I mean, some of it tastes exactly the same.
Do you get a placebo? Do you get a sort of feeling that you might be getting drunk when you drink it?
I think you do, but I also think that you couldn't tell the difference. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't tell the difference, I don't think, for some of them. Some of them out there, like, it's taken them 50 years to get here, but we're
to get to pointless beer.
Nirvana IPA is the one that I drink. It's absolutely crazy good.
Good bit of promo. They might sell you some free stuff.
But it's not completely alcohol-free. It does have trace, doesn't it?
Yeah, it always do, because they have a promise.
Because I think if you drink alcohol-free lager, what they do is the alcohol is so low that your system takes it out of you more quickly than you can drink it. Therefore, because it's like dandelion and burdock, isn't it? That's alcoholic.
Is it?
Yeah, that's it. It's got a bit.
I didn't know
just a tiny little bit, because there's something about the fermenting. We've talked biscuits. We talked everything. The only thing left is talk about tea.
Does anyone have dandelion?
Come on, tea.
Yeah. What's the next one?
So this is a genuine headline: how to make a perfect cup of tea. We've done the biscuit.
How to eat digestive. Yeah, no, but
I hate that. It's like the University of Sunderland has discovered if you regularly fart, you'll live longer. You know, I hate that stuff.
That's true.
Or tomatoes will cure cancer. They always do rubbish like this. Who?
That's not been proven.
Of course, it's not been proven. It's this bullshit science, isn't it? Right. The perfect way. And it'd be boffins at the University of. It'd be the University of Bolton Metropolitan North or something.
Tell us a story how to make a proper cup of tea then.
Right.
What boffins say.
So it is a study. I won't name and shame the psychologist.
No,
what university was it?
Brendan McFadden doesn't say.
Oh God, here we go.
Name and shame. There
Brendan
we go.
McFadden.
He's going to get, if he gets some abuse.
I'm not being funny, but Brendan McFadden doesn't sound like the pinnacle.
A real doctor.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the pinnacle.
Tell us a story about how to make a cup of tea.
Well, the conclusion to his 6-year-long study is keep 6 years long, temperature down to 57 degrees Celsius.
What's that in centigrade?
Well,
you keep giving out the wrong increments, Beanhead.
Kilograms Celsius.
Sorry. Brendan, whatever his name, after 6 years discovering tea, has discovered the following: get a job, right? Get a job.
So cure cancer first, then do this.
About 95 degrees centigrade or something.
It would be about that. Yeah. So 50, and then you put the water in, then you add the milk.
Of course, it's ridiculous to put the milk in first.
Have you heard the Dave Gorman theory on coffee shops?
No, what's the difference?
Which is basically, in the old days, you used to be able to get a good quality cup of tea cheap. But nowadays, coffee, because you can't put water over 100 degrees, those machines are not at 100 degrees, which means that the tea is inferior. But of course, what they also have to do is make it the same price as the coffee. So now you're getting inferior tea for £4 a cup.
But how long do you have to stand it for? Because it's all in the standing, I think.
Wasn't in the study. That's going to be next year.
6 years?
6 years to get to that.
Do you know what he's done? Do you know what he's done? I'll tell you what he's done, right? He's literally got a grant from the University of Wolverhampton, and basically he's got his mate to clock in every day whilst he lived in Malaga, and then the day before the report was due in, he just went, God.
It was probably paid by USAID, and he had all the funding removed.
What he did was the day before it was due in, he got on ChatGPT and went, just come up with something quick. Because, I mean, look, I'm not being funny. Asher, I mean, to the extent that we're engaging with this sensibly, Asher asks a reasonable question. How long do you let the tea stand?
It's the most important question.
In 6 effing years, he didn't get that far.
I mean, that's a ridiculous. That's the most important part.
What's his name?
Brendan McTavish.
Give me it.
Brendan McFadden.
Look, I just have to say to you.
We've got a call flooded in for you.
If your name is, where is he? No, it's not. Brendan McFadden's the journalist.
Oh, Beanhead!
You've named and shamed one of my colleagues.
Anyway,
Right.
look, we've got to go to caller. We've got Stephen in Manchester who's called. He flooded in for Beanhead.
Okay. If you're Joe Bryant from Aldi, if she ever gives you any advice on it, both probably don't take it, because I think she's fairly lazy, if I'm being honest.
Stephen.
Aldi, you have failed. 6 years it took her. 6 years.
Stephen.
She's been off partying. Sorry, Stephen, go.
Stephen.
How you doing, Ash?
All right, man. You want to have a chat to Beanhead?
Well, no, I prefer to be called Cheryl, and I've got a chest hair, like the jungle of Borneo, but I do lactate. So, but there's no way I ever believe you ever bought a pack of McVitie's biscuits when you were at uni.
Why?
Well, because you went to Aldi, didn't you, and stuff like that.
There wasn't Aldi when it wasn't being invented. In fact, I once got thrown out of pub for eating chocolate digestive biscuits. It was a pub called it was in London, the King of Bohemia. It's not there anymore in Hampstead. And I was just having biscuits in the pub. You know, I was having a beer as well. And this guy was an Irish pub, and he goes,
"Who can afford McVitie's these days?"
These days you can't, but you need a mortgage. But he said to me, "Don't eat biscuits. Don't eat biscuits in here."
Andre there. Listen,
but hold on, I haven't finished my biscuit story. Yeah. And then anyway, I sneaked another biscuit in, and he went, "One more biscuit, and you're out of here." And actually did end up getting thrown out of the pub.
I got thrown out
back in the 80s.
I got thrown out of a Wetherspoons for eating my breakfast during lockdown with insufficient gusto. He said, "You're not eating it properly," and so I then got whole hash brown, put it in my mouth, and chewed it slowly. He went, "You're not doing it properly." Mind you, my favourite was the fried Penketh in Warrington. "I'll have a panini and 8 pints of Guinness." Yeah, he's a legend.
The loophole was to buy a Scotch egg. Do you remember?
Do you know what I always do?
Got you out of it, didn't it?
That got you sitting down, right? The Scotch egg loophole.
Do you know what I always do whenever I go to Wetherspoons? Get your Wetherspoons app out, right? There are 2 items you're looking for: mushy peas at £1, right? Or also, you know how when you get the coffee they give you that free biscuit? You can buy it for 20p. What you do is start ordering to another table. Right, there was these 2 fellas, and they just kept bringing them mushy peas, and they go, "I don't want these bloody mushy peas." And someone's going, "There's someone taking the mick out of us."
It's a meal in itself, mushy peas and biscuits.
Stephen, what are you on about?
I'm not lactating, by the way.
Well, I'm not going to.
It would be no good with your hairy chest, would it? All that milk. Anyway, Barmy, you're going at midnight. Have you anything you want to tell us, or your school pupils?
Well, nice to meet you, Stephen. Thanks for your contributions.
He's gone.
Can you imagine, like, the baby has to get the chest hair out of its teeth?
I'm on Instagram.
Plug your podcast. What's it called?
Well, the podcast's called Barmy Brunch. The Instagram is @Barmy Brunch.
What do you do on your podcast?
I just do bits and pieces about travel, trying to get to every country in the world before I'm 60.
So like Simon Calder sort of thing?
82 countries so far.
Do you wear your mask?
Wow!
3 of them I've worn the bean mask, yeah.
Wow.
Have you ever been to Nagorno-Karabakh?
Oh, is that even a country?
It isn't now.
Do you take it off passport control, or is it your human right to wear the bean gimp mask?
I've tried it, but they've said if you can breastfeed and you're male, you will let you through. Keep it on. I said, I'm not doing that.
Okay, Beanie has made that up for comedic purposes. But anyway, thank you so much, Barmy Brunch. Easy to find out who he is. We'll be back, 0344 499 1000. Back with your calls just in a moment.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk. This is the James Wales Show with Andre Walker and Asher Gould. Let's go straight to the phones, but before we do, we've got 3 slots, 03444991000. Ken is in London. Ken, you're on Talk.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hallelujah, Ken.
Hallelujah. Listen, I've got the London Metro in front of me here.
Yeah.
And
the local London paper.
That's the London newspaper. And after page 16, there's 2 full-page advertisements. One advertisement is encouraging the nation to be proud of all those who gave their lives for freedom from the Nazi tyranny. The VE Day anniversary pin badge.
Great.
And it's free to everyone in the nation if you call in for it. And it says, wear yours with pride. And this is a worthwhile cause, I think. We need to remember our history. How Europe, by the...
Do you know what? I saw a story in York. There's a military parade, but they've banned military equipment like jeeps and tanks because it might offend people. I mean, how ridiculous on a military parade they've banned the military equipment.
But Ash, what they're doing here is they're advertising to remember our history and be proud of those who died.
Well, they're right,
freedom. They died for our freedom, and also for the nation who supported them.
Yes.
Now, in the other advertisement, it says, plan for pride. Now, we can have pride in the VE Day anniversary, but I have a question. It says, plan for pride. This is the Homosexual Pride Day. The question I would like to ask is, what are they proud about? No, this is not hate speech.
No, you're right. I mean, Douglas Murray I saw, because he's a well-known, intellectual historian, and he's gay himself, and he says, why are there these pride marches? Why are you celebrating going, I'm gay, like they're celebrities because they're gay? I mean, yeah, it was quite a new thing and there was freedoms years ago, but everyone had a sort of... It became just normalised, but now it's gone the other way.
Tell you what I hate about it, Ken, where you go, bravery. Right, bravery's running into machine gun fire at D-Day. Wearing a jockstrap walking around the streets of London is not bravery. You're just an exhibitionist.
You'd be brave if you went to Gaza like that. That would be brave.
Now let me listen. This is after 12 o'clock. This is adults here. I'm not. There's no hatred in my heart. I'm asking an honest question. Why is it? Why can a man be proud who allows another man to penetrate his anus and his rectum?
No, I mean, well, the thing is, it was a pride of, instead of having to hide it away from the 50s, and it became legal. And what I point is, it's normalised now. There's no need to do it.
Yeah, but how can a man or a woman be proud that she has sex with another woman? Where is the pride in that? Where is the pride in a man?
You have to try it, wouldn't you? You might find out.
Listen, let me say this, Ash. Yeah. This is important. Yeah. This has been forced on us for a full month. Pride Day for a month. Why in what way is a man proud to say that he allows another man?
Yeah, no, we heard what you said. Well, we know.
Why don't you let me?
Because you already said that. People do. They might be eating.
What do they do, Ken?
Let me finish my sentence.
Because we heard what you're going to say.
No. Ken needs to explain it. Come on, Ken.
But we heard him explain it.
How can a man be called? Come out and be proud. How can a man be proud that he allows another man to penetrate his?
No, I agree. Yeah. No, you shouldn't.
You're always breaking in, Ash.
No, go on, say it again.
Why can a man say he's proud to allow a man to penetrate his anus, and how can a man who does that be proud of what he does? This is dangerous, deadly, and it brings disease.
Ken, would you ever penetrate your wife's anus?
No, you wouldn't.
Never.
Why not?
Well, it's sodomy, isn't it?
It's sodomy.
It's in the Ten Commandments, isn't it? You can't covet your ass.
Look, if it's your wife...
Your neighbour's ass.
It's Christmas, and, she wants to give you a special treat.
Andre, the anus and the rectum was specifically designed so that the
You're saying they're outputs. They're outputs only. They're not inputs, is what you're saying.
And their body, they're designed for that purpose.
But animals do it, Ken. Animals. It happens in the natural world as well. Maybe it's God's way of controlling population.
Would you ever allow your wife to do it? Well, let's not get into that.
Let's not get into
that.
Listen, you're not even thinking here. You're just laughing here.
We are laughing because you're phoning me up talking about bum sex, right? What do you want me to do? Why? Well, of course I'm laughing.
Listen.
Right? Why don't we just leave it?
It's a very serious matter.
Can we not just leave it as pride's a sin? Do we have to get into the detail?
Listen, AIDS and HIV caused millions of deaths, and it's still happening today.
Yeah, but it happened with... I know it happened a lot, obviously, in that community, but it happened in all communities.
Why were there so many deaths? It was a judgment.
Well, hang on a second. If HIV is a punishment for homosexuality, why don't lesbians get it?
Well, they got other diseases.
Well, they don't. There's virtually no sexually transmitted disease in the lesbian community because there's no penetrative sex. No, I'm just saying, right? I'm just throwing it out.
I'll tell you why. God says it's an abomination.
No, I understand that. I understand that. God says it's an abomination. I'm not disagreeing with that. But if AIDS is a punishment for homosexuality, why don't lesbians get it?
They got other diseases of the mind.
Well, okay, but that's not a physical disease. So God said, I'm sending down a plague for gay people, but I'm not going to affect lesbians because they're not gay.
They are not committing the sin of sodomy.
Okay. I mean, I think you haven't watched some of the videos I've seen, if I'm being entirely honest. But
do you know where the name sodomy comes from?
Sodom and Gomorrah, yeah.
It comes from Sodom, when God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah for sodomy.
It's like the Brighton and Hove of ancient times.
Yeah, if you disagree with what Ken said and you want to describe some of the things that you're personally proud of, do phone up 0344 for that. We're all men of the world here. We're all men of the world. Ken, what will you be doing for Gay Pride? Will you be out?
How will you be celebrating Gay Pride, Ken?
Yeah, if you disagree with what Ken said, hang on.
Hello.
Damn,
that wasn't us. That was you, Ken.
Hello there.
Hi, Ken. How are you? You're live on Talk.
Listen. Please understand my heart here. I am not. You can do what you want in your life with your own body. It's your business. But we have been forced in this country to participate in vile, unhealthy practices.
You've been forced to participate in it.
They're forcing it on our children also.
Ken's like that.
They're forcing it on
Is
the
that your
children.
excuse, Ken?
Okay, Ken, let me ask you this. No, I'm with Ken to an extent, right? And I'll tell you why I'm with Ken. Because, first of all, who you want to have sex with is of no interest to me, genuinely. I don't understand why we have it on every, the LGBT sandwich. I mean, what was that from M&S, right? One would hope it's... Well, I think it was a BLT that was... But also,
BLT
it's not Pride Month, it's Pride Year, right? You just...
Andre, there's worse than that, Andre. There's a church right at Trafalgar Square which flies the homosexual flag.
Yeah.
The pride flag, the rainbow flag.
The big gigantic flag right at the
I mean, of all the things, I will say one thing, and this is where I'm with Ken. If you watch these pride marches, look, to be honest with you, I don't think, and it's just me saying this, I don't think they should stop the traffic on Pall Mall and on St James's so people can wander around in their underwear. It's not brave, it's just exhibitionism.
Sometimes they haven't even got their underwear, Ken. Do you remember when they all surrounded you with their semi-erect penises on cycles?
I remember that, Ash.
Well, how would you forget it? It's just scarred in your mind.
But listen,
and you always happen to end up there every year.
Understand this. That this is
aroused men riding around, naked men aroused.
Listen, God can cleanse a person from sodomy. I had two friends in Canada who were previously homosexual. God can deliver from any sin. We're all sinners. But what I'm concerned about here is this country has been forced to accept and legalise and normalise filthy, dirty, dangerous...
Well, it wasn't forced. It was democratically decided that they should be illegal.
Hang on a second. If we attempted to shut Trafalgar Square for Christian Pride, we would not be allowed.
There would be no such thing as Christian.
I know. I'm making it up, but okay. Christian celebration. If you said, right, what we're going to do is we're going to have an annual parade of Christians all the way through,
ban it.
They wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't allow it.
Why don't they have Adultery Pride Day?
Good idea. We'll suggest that. Adultery Pride. Adultery Pride.
Let me tell you this story. So my younger brother is an ordinary family man who happens to work in quite a posh financial services company. And when he worked for a well-known American bank, they had their Christmas party, which my brother was very much looking forward to. And they went, right, after the Christmas party, we're going to go to Canal Street, the gay village in Manchester. And my brother went, well, why are we going to the gay village? And they went, because there are some people that are gay, and therefore we want to be inclusive. And my brother said to them, and I think it was brave to say this, he said, right, next year I'll arrange the party. I'm into BDSM. Right? And they said, what? And
There's plenty of place in Manchester for that.
He said, now, of course, I just want to be clear about my brother. He was joking. But he said, well, hang on a second. Why are we having a gay-themed Christmas party? Why can't we have a sadomasochistic-themed Christmas party?
And did they do it the year after?
Well, of course they didn't. He wouldn't have wanted to go anyway.
That's no good.
But he said, my Christmas party should not be going round singing "Put Your Hands Up for Detroit" in a gay bar in Manchester. He said, I don't want to do it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but the thing here, the thing, and this is just my opinion, and there's no hatred. I'm telling you from my heart.
I mean, you're not keen, though, are you? Let's be honest.
I am saying this because this country, there is no longer any moral standards. This country is literally on the highway to hell.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. We all agree with that.
Now, what's happening here? The Christians, and I'm including myself here, we have been too quiet. We need to speak up in love for souls that they repent and get delivered from the sin. We're all sinners.
By the way, I'm gonna leave it here, Ken. I will say one thing, because we've had this debate before about the word pride. I think that there's two types of pride. There's the self-satisfaction pride, there's the egotistical pride, there's the narcissistic pride, which is prohibited in Christianity. But there's also the being very pleased for your children's achievements.
Pride.
Where we use the same word, but it's not the same concept.
And there's mother's pride, the sliced bread.
Well, do you know an awesome sin? The Bible says, God resisteth the proud.
But the slight problem is,
What does that mean?
Ken, the Bible was written in Aramaic, and it's a mistranslation. When somebody says, just to be clear, when somebody says, I'm really proud that my child passed an exam, they are not talking about the sort of narcissistic pride that it was referring to in the Bible. They're saying, I'm pleased my child is doing well. That is not the same thing. Okay, Ken,
we got a question that's flooded in on the text.
What's that?
Right. Well, I can't see this. Thing.
Apparently, there's pleasure sensors.
Right. Okay. This is a message that they're forcing me to read out to you, Ken.
Yeah.
Actually, there are pleasure sensors in the anus. Why would God create our bodies like that?
Isn't it the vagus nerve, Ken? Tell us about the vagus nerve.
God designed the anus and the rectum as a passage to take the waste out of our bodies, specifically designed.
Why did he put pleasure sensors in then?
Let me explain it to you briefly.
So it feels nice when you go. It does, doesn't it? It sometimes feels amazing, doesn't it?
Especially the wash.
Like you're reborn, doesn't it? After a.
And what happens in sodomy? The penis can tear the inside of the rectum, and that's what leads to HIV. It is a deadly, dangerous, violent practice for a man to force his penis into another man's anus.
Or even a woman's. I mean, there is that, and it can be very dangerous.
Ken, would you allow a man to give you a prostate examination which involves him putting his finger up your bum?
I've had that done by the doctor.
Did you enjoy it?
You didn't need to go every month.
No, I didn't enjoy it, but to check my health. Thankfully, I didn't have prostate cancer. This is a long time ago.
Yeah.
There's things, and these things are necessary. The rectum's wonderfully designed. The anus is wonderfully designed.
Mine isn't.
To take out the waste.
Mine's filth.
Yeah, you don't want to. I wouldn't have a picture of it.
They're not designed for sex. You see, it's totally abnormal.
But it happens in the natural animal world as well, Ken.
Listen, it's very dangerous. And
well done, you're avoiding that point. It happens, you get gay dogs, deer, elephants.
That's nonsense.
No, I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes.
I've seen the
video on Twitter.
That's nonsense.
No, it does happen. There are gay dogs, literally. Those poodles with the funny,
There's no such thing as a gay dog. But listen, I've got friends who would deliver from that. And if they listen to me and I've offended you, I'm not trying to offend you. But if you are a homosexual, God can set you free.
Well, I will say one thing. And I think this is where, look, Ken does get sympathy from a lot of people here. I will say one thing. I have to say, the fact that we are treated to a whole month about somebody's sexual interests. You know, it's exactly the same as saying, well, Ken said it, let's have adultery month, let's have BDSM month, just get on with doing what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
just
don't rub it in our face.
I don't need a parade of men in their underpants to prove that you are, well, whatever it is you're trying to prove. Anyway, Ken, thank you so much. Dan in Leeds. Dan, are you proud of your anus?
Well, I wasn't expecting to talk about it. I rang up earlier to talk to James, actually.
Oh, okay. He's gone home
and,
now.
Well, to be perfectly honest, you know, and I'd like to say well done to his wife for being a carer. Because
well, look, you know, give us a ring. He'll be here again same time next week. So, you know, make sure you ring.
Can I answer? So I know the answer that I'd have to this question, but obviously there will be people out there who say, well, should you be broadcasting somebody who is suffering from a health problem?
Could I just butt in there? Because what I'd say, you know, most of the people listening to all that would have the patience of Job if they haven't turned it off.
Well, that's a biblical reference, isn't it? As well.
I mean, the point I'm making is.
Anyway, I'll say good night to you, folks. Bye.
Oh, good night. Sweet dreams. Let's go to Michelle. Shall we?
Let's not have him on.
Let's have a little breaky and then we'll go to Shell.
What was that all about? All right, back in the mo.
Breaky.
No.
Oh, we've got to keep going because he's gone. Michelle in London. All right, Shell.
Hello, boys.
Hello, girl.
You all right?
I've had such a sex education tonight, and I'm in my 50s.
I know, you learn a lot from this show.
What is
and
a
biscuits.
Pink eye?
What?
Is that where a pink eye comes from?
A pink eye? What's a pink eye?
It's a brown eye, isn't it?
I don't know. I've seen it in a film that I was watching.
Well, let's not get into what pornographic films you've watched. I mean,
Ken has been very I do like when you have Ken. I've got the utmost respect. But what I will say is, what is going on this planet? No, seriously. I mean, with that Reed bird crying, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Rachel Reeves, yeah.
Her. What I've never seen anything.
Well, she will now say, you can't sack me, even though I wiped 60 billion off the UK economy because I cried, and it's nasty.
Oh, I've never seen bags like it. Looks like she's been crying for a month. And I'm sick of people treating...
You know what she had bags similar to? Do you remember General Sir Mike Jackson before the facelift?
Yes. Did he have a facelift, did he?
Oh, you're very sharp tonight, you are. I do like
Giving up drinking.
And Ash, and so are you. But this is all what is going on in the world, and I just can't understand why... I can't even put words. Why are we treating people from boats like they're royalty? I don't get it. I mean, I'm a cancer survivor, and I've got a lot of illnesses, and I'm going through cancer tests. And I don't understand. I've gone for appointments, and all of a sudden they've been cancelled.
Yeah. Yeah, because the strain of the system.
You're not allowed to get annoyed.
No.
But if you're
far right, racist,
for an appointment, it's like, well, we can't see you. It's just I know it's going to sound really strange, boys, but I really wish someone would just press that button and we could all start again. I've had an absolute enough, and the abuse to animals, I don't understand it, and I don't understand why people are having a go at Israel, because to me, I think they are saving the world.
But the problem is, we are obsessed with equal but different. What we need to say to President Xi of China, if you have trucks that go round from province to province with a quota of the number of people to execute, so you can sell their body parts on the international donor market, you're a bad person. You're not equal but different. You're a bad person. If you want to slit the throat of children on the kibbutz in Israel, you're a savage. And what we're doing instead, we're going, oh no, that's their tradition. Well, I remember a great story.
Equivalency,
There's a great story from when Britain ruled India. And what they used to do was when the Indian tribal leader died, they'd throw his wife on the funeral fire as well.
She'd jump on it. It's sooty, wasn't it? It's called sooty.
To die with him.
Yeah.
And a British commander came along and the Indians said, what you have to understand is this is our tradition. And he said, and I'm happy to respect your tradition. Your tradition is to throw the woman on the fire. My tradition is to take her off and hang anyone who did it by the neck until they're dead. That's my tradition.
And they actually got rid of sooty, which was the name of it.
And I think you throw your mother on a fire when your dad dies. Yeah. Congratulations, you're a savage. Oh, you
Some
just go
wives
for
would
it.
actually jump on the fire thinking they had to do that. And, they put a stop to it.
I think we killed that.
I think on that bombshell... Sorry. Yep. So we've educated you, haven't we?
All
Lots
right,
of things.
Michelle,
I'm really pleased with
Something
you
to
tonight.
digest over the weekend, and we'll be back with some masterful calls like this. Yeah, where were you?
Hark,
We
the
were at a break,
hypocrites!
yeah.
Hark, the hypocrites! Matt Thornton is asking for a break now where he was off having a poo.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Okay, this is the James Whale Show with Andre Walker and Ashley Gould. Just to remind you, James Whale is presenting the beginning of the show every Friday, so he will be back next week. In the meantime, we've got Martin in Scotland. Martin, you're on Talk.
Marty.
Hi, Leslie.
Where are you in Scotland? We can't just say Scotland. Where in Scotland are you?
Ayrshire, right?
Ayrshire.
I love to have seen those bit.
Full respect to James Whale, right? And brilliant, right?
It's Russell.
And Oasis tonight as well. But can I actually just ask David Lammy if he would actually give a respiration to the Scots, right, for like what happened, right, with like when we were actually like privileged, raped, and hanged, right? No, that's hypothetical, right? But
yeah, well, I think it's a reasonable point.
What did he say?
Right, what he said was
respiration.
What's he saying?
What? Right, okay.
David, hold on, Marty.
Martin,
hold on. We're just gonna.
Martin, allow me to translate.
Yeah.
What he's saying is, do you believe that it would be appropriate for David Lammy to make an apology for the raping and the hanging and pillaging of Scotland and pay reparations to Scotland in the same way he's attempting to do to other countries in the Caribbean?
He'd never do it, would he? No.
I'm just asking. You're
talking about the Highland clearances and the harrying of the North? Is that what you're sort of talking about?
It's like, I love Oasis were on the night. Brilliant band.
I love
Oasis, Rob.
So just to be clear, you did hear that right. We did move from the Highland clearances to Oasis.
No, right, but what I'm saying is, like, does David Lammy have any concern
we're back to there now.
Him as an Englishman did to the Scots and the Welsh, and does he?
No, I agree. Well, no, you're right. It is hypocrisy. It's a ridiculous hypocrisy. You bang on the button, Marty.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I mean...
and another point is, I think Jeremy Corbyn's going to be brilliant for reform.
For reform?
Oh,
right,
by splitting the vote.
He's going to split the vote, yeah. I agree, actually, yeah.
Well, it's a David Lammy hanging out. I think as a Foreign Secretary...
we're back to David Lammy. And what about Oasis? Were they good tonight?
To say about what happened is like with the slaves and everything, all this and that, but...
yeah, but he likes Oasis. Yeah. Did you see Oasis tonight in Cardiff? Marty! Marty!
But he's
Marty!
He's got no idea.
Hold on, can we go back to the Oasis, Marty?
Oh, tremendous.
What, they were in Cardiff today, they weren't in Ayrshire?
I know, right, but...
Did you go to the... What?
But everybody says, like, don't look back in anger.
What's he saying?
He's singing Don't Look Back in Anger.
Oh, yeah, go on, sing a bit of that.
What we've done is we
can get a little taster of how it was.
Just explain to everyone, we've had three themes. We've had splitting the vote and cephalological issues.
I like it. Can you give us a little excerpt?
David Lambert needs to stop. Everybody needs to stop looking.
You were talking about Jamie Corbyn.
We want to go back to Oasis. What song did they... What was your favourite bit of the gig in Cardiff?
I wasn't there. I just think they're brilliant.
What's your favourite song? Can you give us a little few bits?
It's Don't Look Back in Anger because the Manchester thing with it
was played at the one Manchester.
Yeah, but people are saying that was the wrong thing to do. You should be angry about it.
The guy's song when it's like all the people get fucking killed.
I'd look. Well, yeah, no, I would look back in anger at that. You know, why would you not look back in anger? Sometimes you need to.
Yeah, let's all turn the other cheek and sing "Come By Our." No, let's bomb the bad guys. That's what I'd do. There we go. Big fat cruise missile.
The Manchester.
Now let's go back to David Lammy. Another point about David Lammy in that. Actually, no, it's all right. Marty, thank you for your call. Let's go to Hertfordshire Bob.
That just lacked focus, didn't it? Really. Okay, Robert.
Hello, guys. I thought Radzi Nesbitt was dead. Blimey,
that was Russ Abbott.
That for the last 10 minutes, I couldn't understand.
I was very concerned about what's going on with Oasis.
In reference to Old Testament Ken, who was talking about...
And New Testament.
Well, no, he's proper Old Testament, isn't he?
Well, no, he's New. He's Jesus, isn't he?
He loves the Old Testament. Yeah. He loves the Old Testament.
Well, yeah, he is very... Well, it was going back to his points on homosexuality. I mean, I've got a lot of homosexual friends. There's one or two of them who are a pain in the arse, but we won't talk about that.
Literally, no. But
Jesus.
No, we can't go down that road.
I will tell you a humorous story.
Or up that road.
What was the joke somebody the other day said? My penis is so big that if I showed it to you, you'd have a stroke.
Going back to the Gay Pride March, I was the very first Gay Pride March. I was working in Park Lane, and I was walking down Piccadilly, and I see them coming along, and I wanted to cross the road. As they was coming along in force, I mean, there was hundreds of them. They was headed by a transvestite. He was about 6 foot tall anyway, and he had a big headdress on.
The best ones are.
Me, in a moment of madness, I decided to cross the road because I wanted to go in Fortnum and Masons. Well, I've walked in front of him, and he's grabbed me by the arm, and now I'm at the front of the parade. I thought, I ain't going to fight it. I might as well just go along with it.
Go with it, man. Go with the flow, man. Yeah. Well, and did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy your experience?
Well, I'll just listen.
At the head of the Pride March?
Just go for it. And all my mates seen me on the news that night. Yeah, I was on the news.
I'll tell you what happened to me once. The Gurkhas were walking down Whitehall when they were campaigning to be able to live in the UK.
With Joanna Lumley.
And do you know what? The first one walked past and I applauded them. I was just outside my office in the House of Commons and the bloke in charge stopped, shook my hand then each of the 300 of them shook my hand, and then they gathered round me and stopped. Clearly for me I don't know who they thought I was.
Boris Johnson, probably.
I had to address the Gurkhas.
And they something to do with Joanna Lumley.
My favourite story, though, talking of Pakistanis, and Joanna Lumley was born in Pakistan. I remember I went to an event for a place called Baltistan, Gilgit-Baltistan, right? And when I went in, my mate goes, my mate talks like that. He goes, I'll tell you what, come for a curry with me. We'll have to listen to a few speeches. It'll be crap, the speeches, but we'll have a free curry. Right. So anyway, we went in.
Was he Welsh?
We went in. And there was I'd like to call an expert level one sat in the middle, you know, with the big beard and the hat and all that, and all the gear, all the whites and all that sort of thing. And obviously people are making these speeches in Urdu, right? And obviously he's some important person. And all I heard was in Urdu, and then I heard Andre Walker, New York Observer. Can I tell you something, Robert? The floor was mine. 5 minutes on economic development in Gilgit-Baltistan, a place I had never heard of in my life at all, in front of the governor. And the problem is, because part of Pakistan's disputed, I didn't even know whether it was in Pakistan,
you've got to be careful with
or whether it was in India or not.
When you go to the barbers, you have an Urdu.
So anyway, I made the speech. They gave me a standing ovation in the end.
I want to ask you a Freemasons question. Okay?
Yeah, go on.
Is a Muslim allowed to join the Freemasons?
Yes.
Oh, have you got any Muslims in the Freemasons?
Yeah, actually. So
you have to be a one God believer, don't you?
So the volume of the Sacred Law, the religious textbook of the Freemasons, the volume of the Sacred Law, is the religious textbook of your religion. So you would put out a Quran, a Torah, or a Bible, depending on whether the person, in order to be a member of what I'm a member of, the Holy Royal Arch of Jerusalem, you're supposed to be a Trinitarian Christian or a Jew.
But I remember a Mason asked me, he goes, Ash, do you believe in a single God? That's one of the...
a supreme being.
So a Hindu couldn't join because they have multiple gods?
I mean, some people let Hindus and Sikhs into Freemasonry. Yeah. I personally wouldn't, because I don't think it's appropriate, but I don't think that'll go down well with Grand Lodge.
Once, many years ago, I was invited. I didn't get an invitation. What this guy had done, he was really high up. He was grand, whatever it was. Yeah. But he was a Knight of St. John. And he just said to me, I want to give you this great book, and I want you to go home and read it. And it was an acceptance and an explanation about joining the Freemasons. The only thing was, as you know, you've got to have it comes to a few quid, them dues. You know what I mean? And I was a little bit down on me luck at the time, and my mate said, listen, when you go to these moves, you've got to pay out. You know, there's no two ways about it.
Although I will say one thing, I mean, it's not relevant to me because I'm not married, but if I died tomorrow, and I had a wife and kids, my wife and kids would be looked after for life by the Freemasons. If I was thrown out on the streets, they'd accommodate me. There is an insurance scheme. So there's things like, if you can't afford a private knee operation, say, and the NHS is making you wait 6 years, they will pay out for it. In fact, there was one kid whose dad was a Freemason, and I think the child needed leukemia treatment in the United States of America, and the Freemasons ponied up £1 million. Also, you know, the air ambulances are all paid for by the Freemasons, and now after Grenfell Tower, we donated the £2 million, ladders that go all the way up to
Was your dad a Freemason? Was your dad a Freemason?
Was my dad?
Yeah.
No.
No, I just wonder where it come from, because do you think it's a little bit...
Yeah, where did it come from, man?
And just all my mates joined, so I'm funny. So the Masonic Lodge that I'm worshipful master of, basically it's all my mates from the House of Commons. God, that's going to cause even more anger and dissent. And the other lodge that I go to regularly is the one for talkTV and GB News. And there are loads and loads and loads of people wandering around this building who are members. All secrets, of course. More next.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
His wife.
By the way, I did accidentally misspeak, just to be clear, that ordinary craft Freemasonry is open to anybody who believes in a supreme being. It's the later appellant bodies that are supposed to be Christian or Jewish.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Not that anybody really cares.
Yeah.
I would advise against. I would advise against Royal Ark Mariners. That is particularly spent. Okay, let's go for Michael in Ealing. Michael.
West London.
Oh, sorry.
But before that, Michael, brace yourself. We're going to have a look at. Andre went out onto the streets and
didn't get knifed today.
And you didn't get. What was it about? This little vox
It's
pop?
about Keir Starmer. It's the first anniversary of becoming prime. It feels like 10 years. Take it away.
Run Vita.
It's Keir Starmer's first anniversary. Do you have one word to describe him?
Shit.
Shit. Who's the alternative, though? Be realistic. They're all pretty bad, aren't they?
I don't think there's any alternative. Probably being you, George.
Keir Starmer's first anniversary. What do you think?
I don't know.
Can you describe him in one word?
I don't know who he is.
What would be your first policy? Can I tell you what mine would be?
Go on.
I would put a man on Mars, and that man would be Prince Harry.
We're not even going to go there with him.
Can you describe Keir Starmer in one word?
I don't know.
Also, can you skip with this rope?
Keir Starmer. He's the man that can't say where a woman is.
Can you describe Keir Starmer in one word?
Terrific.
Why?
EU.
EU, okay.
Yes, he understands.
It's Keir Starmer's first anniversary. Can you describe him in one word?
Whose first anniversary?
Okay, Keir Starmer, can you give me a backing?
Keir Starmer. He rocks the oat, he rocks the farmers too.
I don't like Boris Johnson. He has...
Well, we do surprise me. Is he a big fan of Keir Starmer and the Labour Party? Do you have any idea what I'm saying?
I don't speak more English. Portugal.
Okay, let's go to Michael in Ealing. Michael, you're on Talk.
You're all right, matey.
All right, mate.
What's up, Michael?
Yeah.
Michael? Michael?
A little bit of a... Yeah.
Are you drunk?
Threw me a little bit. But at the end of the day, I'm...
Happy?
It really disturbs me how you actually describe these Pakistani grooming gangs.
Okay.
They're actually Pakistani paedophile gangs.
Yes.
They're taking kids, like, from school in minicabs. Yeah, and...
Yeah, but the issue is, Michael, stop, Michael, give me 1 second. Michael, you've got the wrong guy. Can I explain why? This channel broadcasts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We can't call it paedophile rape gangs during the breakfast show. That's the reason.
But they are paedophiles.
I agree with that, but you don't want to upset school children whilst they're having the breakfast.
You know, Greater Manchester Police are investigating 1,000 people currently. This is ongoing. This isn't prehistoric cases. This is actually ongoing. That's just Manchester looking for 1,000 people currently investigating from about 750 victims.
You know, like talk is straightforward, talking actual
talk
sense.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know
and
what you mean.
You're actually turning around and talking around the fact that
no, we're not. We're not.
Just explained
it. People get it wrong. The reality is we have to have the same name for it 24 hours a day, and we're not willing to talk about people. Look, Michael. There was a girl. Michael, there was a girl sodomized with a broken bottle. Right? We can't say that during the Mike Graham breakfast show. Right? But what you think is happening, and what we constantly get criticised for, is playing down or belittling the victims. That's not what we're doing. The reason we're calling it grooming gangs is because Mike Graham and Julia Hartley-Brewer have to use the same name as what we use.
Anyway, let's keep it light, Michael, and let's keep it light by going across the ocean to Cindy in Michigan. Howdy doody.
Howdy doody.
Howdy, partner.
I have an idea for a future show.
Yeah.
Idea for a program, monkey tennis.
Sorry, my dog's going nuts. But a future show you could do.
Youth Hostling with Chris Eubank.
Midnight Confessions.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes, spicy, right?
Let's start with you, Cindy.
You listening? Midnight Confessions. What do you want to confess?
Confess, Cindy. Confess.
I used to work for a website called Sky Private.
You what? You used to do what? Sorry.
And I used to work for a website called Sky Private.
What, were you a webcam girl?
And my name was Mistress Michelle.
Miss what?
Mistress Michelle.
Mistress Michelle.
How much did you charge?
The things and the I.
Yeah, can we impersonate it, Asher? You be the caller.
All right.
And so do they? So.
Yeah. Hello, is that Mistress?
Well, I would have to have a chat with him on what he wanted. Like sometimes
he just wants the basics. Just give us a general idea.
Hello, is that what was your name again?
Mistress Michelle.
Mistress Michelle.
I'm feeling like a naughty boy. Do that.
I feel a bit naughty. What can you do for me to help me relax?
What would you like to see?
What have you got to show me?
Can you show me your front body?
Yeah.
Well, no, let's not rush into it.
Whatever you wanted to see.
So you would get out your.
What did your husband say? What was your husband? Did your husband know, or was he one of the customers?
He would actually be in the background, and he would kind of.
Did they ask for him to appear with you?
Well, he would help.
Did they ask you to?
He did a couple times. But they normally wouldn't know that he was in the background. Like,
and was it a good money spinner?
Not really. It was like $2 a minute, and people would finish
That's all right.
$2
a minute.
What, did you only get how many minutes did you get?
6 a week.
That's $120 an hour.
You know, it was mainly European men from the UK.
Really?
Because I specialized in like what a mistress does. Like I would be firm.
Oh, a dominatrix
thing, yeah. They wanted to be treated like naughty boys.
Were they mainly posh people? Because they like that stuff.
No, it was all kinds.
Yeah.
All kinds.
Who was it? It was telling me that they met somebody who worked for the company that makes the most expensive horsewhips in Britain, and they said even in the Victorian era they made far more whips than there were jockeys.
Oh yeah, the Victorians, they were filth. They pretend they were all prudish, but behind the scenes they were really up to some horrendous things.
The most popular request, and this is
here we go.
Acronym was JOI. And it you want to know what it stood for?
No, we can't talk about that. No, we can't. But we know what you're talking about. It's a chicken recipe. It's a chicken recipe, isn't it? Yeah.
You know that.
It's related to. It's a Caribbean food. Yeah, I've got it now. Right. Anyway, go away. We've had too many bum holes and front botties and rectums, and
that's just from you.
Yeah. No, we're not having any more of that. We'll be back after a break.
across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Yes, this is Talk, and it's just been filth, this show, hasn't it, for being absolutely honest.
But educational.
By the way, somebody's asked if the Freemasons are similar to the Stonecutters in The Simpsons. Yes, they're taking the Mick outfit. And is there a lodge for women? Yes, there are 2 grand lodges for women and 1 for men. They remain single-sex in the UK, but women can join. OK, Kevin is in Stoke-on-Trent. So, you're on Talk.
Oh, hello, Andre.
Hello.
Good morning, it is now, isn't it?
Good morning.
Is the correct answer.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, I never thought I'd have a chance to speak to live to a man I consider to be the most intelligent.
Intelligent? He is very intelligent, isn't he?
Yeah, and you, Flash Ash, as well.
Man. Yeah, reinvented.
Yeah.
By the way, What Just Happened tomorrow morning from 10 a.m, also on YouTube. What Just Happened, it's me tomorrow and, of course, Kev.
Have my Vox Pops gone in this week?
And it's Vox Pops. No, they'll be next week, won't they? Yeah. Cateries Paribus.
Okay.
It's been quite a sexual education.
Oh, it's been a railroad, hasn't it?
They should show this in schools along with that adolescence.
I'll tell you what, when I said to Ken, would you be willing to penetrate your wife's rectum? There was another question I was going to go.
Let's not go over it
There was
again.
another question I was going to go for next, but even I lacked the bravery to ask that question. But you all know what it was.
No, don't encourage him, Kevin. But what?
Beanhead's been...
I love Beanhead.
Yeah, Beanhead, yeah.
As well, hasn't he?
Well, he is a teacher. He is actually a teacher.
Do you know he made that hat? He printed it out and then stitched it himself.
Incredible stuff.
It's not incredible.
Well, he's not married. I mean...
I know.
Oh, come on, what bird's going to have that?
I can't understand
He
that
walks
either.
around with beans on his head. What bird's going to accept that?
Well, I mean, anybody that's had the pleasure, or I've had the pleasure, they generally say to me, it's now time to do the walk of shame.
Well, they all say that with you, don't they, Kevin?
The best I can offer them is a cup of tea or coffee. I mean, I certainly don't offer them...
What's shameful about that, then?
Do you know what I always say? Do you know what I always say after a romantic evening for 2? Put your clothes on, love, your taxi's here. OK, that is Kevin. And OK, let's go to Claire in Cornwall.
Cornish Claire.
Claire, you're on Talk. I love that. Put your clothes on, love, your taxi's here.
Claire?
Hello, lovely.
Hello.
What's up,
We're
man?
down in Cornwall.
Cornwall.
What's going on in Cornwall, man? It's beautiful down there, isn't it? Rick Stein's got loads of restaurants. Gordon Ramsbottom's got a few houses.
Oh, yeah. Well, they call it Padstein now, not Padstone.
Padstein?
Aren't those the same thing?
Padstein.
Padstein instead of Padstone.
Oh, Padstein.
Padstein. Oh, it's an excellent joke, that, yeah.
Yes. Where to begin?
Yeah, man.
I'm not a Tory voter, I have to say.
Neither's anyone else, don't worry.
Yeah.
My God, Boris's expensive wallpaper doesn't seem such an issue anymore.
No, it doesn't.
Never did at the time.
It doesn't. I'll tell you what.
I mean, it was a bit sickly because it matched the couch.
Keir Starmer is genuinely woeful. I think one of our sister stations today on one of their podcasts was saying that Keir Starmer says that he doesn't like the big vision thing. Well, that's your job as Prime Minister. He is awful as Prime Minister.
Oh, can you believe he said I was too busy doing world stuff? I took my eye off the ball in England. It's like, what is going on?
I mean, and then he comes into this building, he avoids Times Radio, Talk TV, and goes and does an interview with the great Chris Evans, but he obviously didn't want to face Mike Graham, Julia, or the Times Radio people.
That's very, very interesting.
Well, it's very telling, isn't it? It's very telling. It's like he'll only go on This Morning, he'll only go on these sort of light-hearted shows.
I never watched daytime TV after the loss of Good Morning with Anne and Nick.
I've never watched it.
It was absolutely superb.
Since Pete Beale left.
Pete Beale.
Oh, darling man, that's like 1980s.
It wasn't 1980s. Well, it might have been.
It was.
And Ainsley had his big pepper pot, and they said, "Can you come up with a name for Ainsley's pepper pot?" And I phoned in, and they said, "We're not going to put that on there." And I thought, well, that was my suggestion.
You're thinking about the Green Goddess and all that. Now listen,
Mad Lizzie.
You boys boys are you're getting a bit saucy.
Yeah, we are. What's gone on tonight? I don't understand
It's
it.
the heat. Yeah.
Matron Claire is here now. I have to stop.
Yeah, we don't want. This show isn't about sex. You know, we can't be doing that.
Were you a webcam girl as well, Claire?
Oh, for God's sake! Why would you ask that?
No, because she said she's a matron or something, didn't you?
Haven't you got a girlfriend, love?
Well, not a full-time one.
He plays the field, actually. He does. And I told he's excellent with his.
No, I mean, where would you take me on a date in Cornwall?
Nando's. Everyone knows that. Nando's.
Padstein.
I'm not taking you anywhere. You'll take me out.
If you come here, I'll take you up the Shard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's over the road.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
What, you're going to climb the bloody Shard?
He's not going to climb it, he's going to take you up it.
Yeah, you know, there's elevators.
It's quite easy to get into the Shard nowadays.
Yeah.
What is the Shard?
What?
It's a big building.
It's a big pointy thing.
Big pointy thing, yeah.
Yeah, but do they do food, coffee?
Yeah, they do.
What?
Croissants.
Yeah, hutong, Chinese.
All right, okay, I shall take you up on it.
Nice
Hang on,
one.
Can I just change the subject?
Yeah, we can only hope. Yeah, please.
Don't say you can only hope.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about taking people up the Shard or Ken's interest in gay pride.
Yeah, it's really taken a turn. What else?
Ken always ends up there though with the gay pride ones, doesn't he? Oh, it's disgraceful. All these
and
men.
He always ends up in the middle of aroused men on bikes riding around.
Why have I ended up with all these?
Stop these semi-erect men. I cannot take it. Right, same time next year, guys. Yeah.
I can't look. I can't look at your erect penis. It's a disgrace.
What was your other thing, Claire? Claire?
Who on earth did her makeup today?
Who? Oh, Rachel Reeves. She looked like Liberace.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
What was that, darling? Was that Botox?
It was to demonstrate that she was back on top of things. I mean, I just thought it was.
I know that. I get that. But how did they do it?
Creosote. It's like with Ian Dale, they just creosote his face, Ian Dale.
Do you remember the cute old man on the advert?
No, they do. Ian Dale's invented a new ethnic minority. They just creosote his face. Mahogany face. He's quite a good bloke, but he does have a face of mahogany. There's no doubt about it.
You two. You're like a little two-man...
little two-man radio and TV show. Yay!
But can I just say before I go... I will say thank you again for that fantastic New Year's Eve with your lovely lady. I don't remember her name.
Danielle.
Do you remember the New Year's Eve when you did the conga?
Oh yeah, I do. We've got to bring all that back. You know, I'm going to lobby more the station because I get that they've bought all the rights for the football and they're determined to run it at the weekend. But we still, you know.
Can I get a word in?
Shut up.
It was just the best New Year's Eve. Dear Danielle, she heard the conga come on and she said, come on, get up. I'd had a rubbish Christmas and it made my New Year's Eve. Thank you very much for that.
That's all right, man.
Well, he's just said New Year's Eve's on the Thursday, so if we're still around by then, what's that all about? Oh, shut up. Right.
Anyway, thanks, Claire. Let's go to John in Fife. John.
Fifeshire, the Kingdom of Fife.
Hello.
Hi, John.
Hello, John.
Hiya. I was just wanting to talk about the small boats that are coming over in the channel.
I think you need to mute your TV or radio if you can.
Oh, sorry, wait now, I'll turn it down.
Oh, there we go. It never gets old, that one, does it?
Sorry. I would just like to say, what's the problem with these small boats? Is it not so easy enough to just say, right, well, when they come into the country, then if they come in illegally, then they don't get in.
Exactly. And that was the rules. And today the French did stab a few with a boat, so they collapsed. But that's because there's Macron's coming over for a state visit, so they're trying to look good.
I think it should be, if in doubt, throw them out. That's what...
They should just be moved to an island with alligators. No, but they should move to an island like they do in France.
At the end of the day, we are an island. We've only got a certain amount of space for everybody. We can't even house the homeless that we've got at the moment. And at the end of the day, where are we going to put these people?
Well, what happens? Exactly what happens when people say to you, England is full, Scotland is empty, and actually Scotland itself, an independent Scotland, can have a lot of immigration.
Scotland might be empty, but there's a lot of hilly
Yeah, there is.
There's a lot of mountainous terrain in Scotland.
Well, we're taking in the city the size of Manchester every year. We're not building a city size of Manchester every year, so you do the math. We're going to hell in a handcart.
Aye. Well, at the end of the day, it's like Scotland is a big place, but there's not a lot of places to put houses on it.
There's too many mountains, isn't
Right,
it?
OK, here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to say thank you to John, and we're going to play a little game. Right, OK, the little game is this. I want you to all follow at Virtual Ash.
And at Andre JP Walker.
And we're going to start reading out the people that follow us right now. So come on, get following. Come on, where are you? Where are you? Oh, no one's getting involved.
At Virtual Ash. Well, you got to wait 14 seconds because of the delay.
Oh, yeah, wait. I've told people that many times.
Yeah, it won't work, yeah. And by the time we do it, we'll be off air. So let's just carry on with John. John, have you got anything else you want to say before we go? We might get some before, but...
Yeah, I would like to say that...
We've got a minute left, John, if you could wrap the show up for us.
The fact of the matter is like, we've got far too many people coming into this country. We don't have the social security system to deal with that.
We don't have the money, full stop. We don't have the housing.
We don't have the money to deal with that situation. So why should we be letting them in the
Well, everyone's in agreement with you. I mean, there's no one... What you're saying makes sense, but the government and the authorities, they